Chapter 2156. Currently in a luxurious villa in the fantasy realm. Dong. An exquisite glass was smashed on the ground, shattering on the spot. And the owner of the glass cup was Chris. At this time, the injuries on his body were more or less healed, because the family's internal healing pills were pretty good. The problem was that his physical injuries had healed, but his mental injuries hadn't healed at all. Because he had been beaten up by Xia Ping in front of the mission hall, and in front of everyone at that, he had become the laughingstock of the family. He was ridiculed by the other direct family members. One had to know that Barty was just a clown for him to amuse himself. But now Barty had beaten him and his lackeys up, humiliating him. It could be said that he even had the intention to wipe out Xia Ping's entire family. Damn that Barty. That bastard. He actually managed to turn things around and even won the bet. Chris roared angrily. He was furious to the extreme. Originally, when he heard about the bet between Xia Ping and Jacob, he was overjoyed. He thought that Barty was dead for sure. After this, he would definitely become a pauper. He might even drop from his position as a noble and become an ant-like commoner. When that time came, he could take revenge however he wanted. He could crush Barty to death however he wanted. But before Chris could be happy for a few days, he found out that the kid had actually turned things around. He had swindled Jacob out of tens of billions in one go. He had even made Jacob go bankrupt and suffer heavy losses, turning him into a madman. When he thought about how that clown-like figure from back then had skyrocketed to become a person above all others, and how he would have to look up to him in the future and bow and scrape to him, he couldn't help but feel angry. "Boss, we can't let that Barty continue to run wild." One of the lackeys on the side shouted. That bastard had a fortuitous encounter and advanced to the returning truth realm. He became so arrogant that he even beat up someone as honorable as you, boss, without giving you any face. Now he has obtained tens of billions and all the wealth of Jacob, a Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouse. This is no less than a heaven-shaking fortuitous encounter. From now on he will be able to pay it all back. That's right. That's a lot of money. His billions. Even the most beloved heir of the Leinster family wouldn't have that much money. If he used this money to buy all kinds of pills and spirit herbs, he would be able to advance to the Thunder Tribulation Realm and become an elder of our illusion race. If you use it to buy magic treasures, you will be able to arm yourself to the teeth. Damn it. That Barty is really going to turn things around. From now on, we might not even be able to call him Lord Barty anymore. He's high and mighty and we're no longer on the same level. Many of Barty's lackeys were envious, jealous, and hateful. Before they had ignored Barty, but in the blink of an eye, they were no longer worthy of him. They were no longer on the same level. They were green with jealousy over Barty's adventures. Shut up. A clown like you wants to soar into the sky and ride on my head from now on? Don't even dream about it. Barty gritted his teeth. But we can't do anything to him. He's now the most popular person in the Lawrence family. Maybe he's even been recognized by the head of the Lawrence family. His rise is inevitable. Some of the lackeys were helpless. Rise? What a joke. He'd have to be alive to do that. Barty clenched his fists with a murderous aura. Many of the lackeys could feel the terrifying murderous intent on Barty's body. It was simply chilling. Barty was like a demon right now. On the other hand, in Barty's home in Lawrence City. Barty, congratulations. You've now become a celebrity in the illusion race. Elder Emma looked at Xia Ping with a complicated expression. She had never thought something like this would happen. After completing the year-end mission and swindling billions of universe dollars, Xia Ping had already become the most popular person in the Lawrence family. Many elders and children of the family wanted to get to know Barty and build a good relationship. Most importantly, this group of people had their eyes on Xia Ping's wealth and wanted a share of it. They all harbored malicious intentions. However, Xia Ping rejected all of their efforts. He refused to answer any calls. Thinking of this, she remembered about Jacob. She couldn't help but remind him, but I'm afraid it's not a good thing to offend Jacob like this. He might take revenge. Although Jacob was now a pauper, even a broken ship had 3 nails. Plus, he was a Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouse. It was a relatively simple matter for him to accumulate wealth quickly. Moreover, a crazy Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouse was incomparably terrifying. They could do anything. Any junior would feel like sitting on pins and needles when faced with a Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouse. What a joke. Do you think that Jacob won't take revenge if I give up that contract? Xia Ping asked in return. This? Elder Emma was stunned for a moment. That was indeed the case. Jacob was famous for seeking revenge for the smallest grievance. If Barty had lost this bet, he would definitely have been hit while he was down and humiliated to the extreme. Even if Barty gave up the bet, Jacob probably wouldn't feel the slightest bit of gratitude. He might even think that Barty was weak and easy to bully. People were just like that. It's just a small matter. Did you do what I asked you to do? Xiaoping looked at Emma. You want to become a treasury guard? I see. I've already reported this to the family head, Sophia. The family head knows about what you've done recently and is very interested in you. He wants to meet you. Emma said in a low voice. Meet him. Xiaoping frowned. He was still a little afraid of meeting the immortal sage in the illusion race. After all, he wasn't a member of the illusion race. Some of his flaws might be seen through. If possible, he hoped to keep a low profile and quietly steal the treasures from the illusion race's treasury. What? Are you not willing? Don't you know how great of an honor it is for the family head to summon you? If the family head appreciates you, you won't get any benefits. Just a little bit of information and you'll be able to enjoy it for the rest of your life. Emma was very discontented when she saw Xiaoping's expression. Normally, a member of the Lawrence family would be wild with joy when the patriarch summoned them. How could they be like this guy? He was actually frowning. This was outrageous. Of course not. I was just a little overjoyed and couldn't react in time. If the family head wants to see me, it's naturally my honor. Xiaoping said in a low voice. That's for the best. Emma snorted. She didn't want to pursue this matter any further. After all, this was only a small matter. Come with me now. The patriarch is already waiting for you at the Lawrence family's headquarters. Don't let the patriarch wait for too long. She waved her hand and let Xiaoping follow her to the core area of the Lawrence family headquarters. Chapter 2157. In the center of Lawrence City stood an ancient castle that occupied a vast area. This was also the core area of the entire Lawrence City. Saint Sophia lived in this place. Apart from that, many important members of the Lawrence family were also scattered in the buildings around the castle. At this moment, Xiaoping entered the ancient castle under Emma's lead. Many of the Lawrence family members saw Xiaoping as soon as he entered. Look, isn't that Barty? Why is he at our family headquarters? Don't you know what happened recently? Barty did something earth-shattering and earned tens of billions. He's now a popular person among the magic tribe. Even the family head specially summoned him. Damn it. Barty was just a small character before. Anyone could bully him. I didn't think he'd turn things around now. Comparisons are really infuriating. Why wasn't I chosen by the family head? I'm afraid Barty will really soar to the sky from now on. It's very possible that he'll become an elder of the Lawrence family. Everyone discussed animatedly. They were all envious and jealous. They didn't think that a small character they'd looked down on before would turn things around all of a sudden. He'd grown into a character they could only be jealous of. The change was too fast. Under Emma's lead, Xiaoping soon arrived at a large hall in the deepest part of the ancient castle. There was no one here. It seemed to be the family's forbidden area. No one was allowed to go near it. This was where the family head of the Lawrence family resided. It was where the saints resided. Lord Family Head. At this moment, Emma stood outside the hall and called out. Emma, is it? Come in now. A voice came from the depths of the hall. With a snap, the doors of the palace opened automatically. Whoosh whoosh. Xiaoping and Emma walked straight in. A woman wearing a long white dress appeared in front of them. Ichem. Xiaoping's hair stood on end in an instant. He felt a great threat from the woman in the white dress in front of him. Her appearance seemed to be a bit similar to Emma's. However, their strength was completely different. She stood where she was, and her real body seemed to be a blurry shadow. With her body as the center, the space within a radius of 100 meters was distorted. The surrounding space seemed to be collapsing, and countless dimensional spaces were distorted. Without a doubt, this woman was not just an undying saint. Her cultivation base had probably surpassed the undying saint realm and reached the near ancient saint realm. It was said that after reaching the ancient saint realm, they had already begun to comprehend the origin laws of the universe. The difference in strength between them and the immortal saint was like heaven and earth. They were more than 100 times stronger and were not existences that the immortal saint could compare to. Sometimes, out of 100 undying saints, there might not even be one who could reach the near ancient saint realm. This was because to reach this realm, not only did one need a solid foundation, one also needed great comprehension and luck. Xiaoping could defeat and even use the reincarnation brush and other magic treasures to kill immortal sages. However, he had no confidence in dealing with near-ancient sages. If they really fought, Xiaoping would probably be killed in an instant. Master, be careful. This woman is not simple. She has probably reached the level of an ancient saint. At this time, the Green Ox's voice also came over and warned, to reach the near ancient saint realm, one must completely comprehend the power of the space law. This kind of person is simply a legend. Near ancient sages can merge with the void at any time. Ordinary people cannot attack their bodies at all. A punch will only hit nothingness. After all, this kind of legendary person who has comprehended the space law can travel through countless dimensions with a single thought. They can travel hundreds of light years away and hide in the depths of dimensions. It is impossible to reach them. However, if they attack you, they can kill you with a single punch from countless dimensions away. This kind of difference is so great that it can't be measured by distance. In terms of combat power, undying saints can only carry the shoes of near ancient sages. Space law. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Although he knew that near ancient sages' power was beyond imagination, he did not think that reaching this realm would require one to completely comprehend the space law. Near ancient sages who had comprehended the space law were unimaginably powerful. Patriarch Sophia, this is a clansman of the Lawrence family that I mentioned to you before. He is extremely intelligent and talented. He can be considered a promising talent of the Lawrence family. Emma immediately introduced Xiaoping to the lady in white, Sophia. Interesting. At this time, the woman in white smiled lightly. She seemed to have sensed something. You are only at the returning origin realm, yet you can perceive some of my secrets. It seems that you not only have a great encounter, but you are also overflowing with talent. Her eyes seemed to contain endless mysteries. Like lasers, she looked at Xiaoping from top to bottom. It was as if she could see through every corner of Xiaoping and see through all of his secrets. Nothing could be hidden in front of her. Xiaoping's hair stood up. He felt a great threat. He immediately wanted to counterattack, but he resisted. He was very confident in the power of the formless mask. He would not expose his secrets. Sure enough, after scanning for a while, the woman in white stopped probing. She seemed to think that she already knew Xiaoping like the back of her hand. After all, in her eyes, a mere returning Origin Realm Junior was not worth mentioning. The gap was too big. Probing him was already giving him a lot of face. Barty, I heard that you want to borrow the power of the Lawrence family to obtain the position of Treasury Guard? The woman in white, Sophia, asked. Yes, Patriarch. I heard that this position is a lucrative one. There are many benefits. Xiaoping admitted honestly. You are quite direct. You speak without any consideration for benefits. You are a straightforward person. The white-clothed woman, Sophia, chuckled. People like you are either loyal and honest, or you are evil and wicked. But it doesn't matter which kind of person you are. As long as you are a member of the Lawrence family, you will naturally be protected. Her words showed great confidence. No matter what kind of person Barty was, she could control him. Not because of anything else, but because of her invincible strength. She was a sage who had comprehended the law of space. She could easily crush all conspirators. If she was unhappy, she could destroy the enemy. It was as easy as breathing. Of course, the greater the benefits, the greater the price. The woman in white, Sophia, looked at Xiaoping. I heard that you are extremely smart. If you can complete the task I give you, then it is not impossible for you to become a treasury guard. Chapter 2158. Oh, I wonder what you need my help with? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows and asked. It's like this. Sophia said in a low voice, I have 3,000 commercial planets under me. I obtained them through some underhanded means. Of course, they have all the necessary procedures and are in line with the laws of various human countries. They are considered legal property. Now, I want to sell all of these planets and exchange them for universe dollars. I want to use them to buy all sorts of universe-grade materials. I plan to forge a high-grade sacred artifact to increase my strength. The problem is that a planet is very expensive. Ordinary people can't afford it. It's also very difficult to find someone to buy it. This matter has been delayed for many years, and I still haven't sold a single planet. Saying this, she paused. Of course, if I'm willing to sell them at a lower price, it's not that I can't find someone to buy them. The problem is that I don't want to suffer such a huge loss and be taken advantage of. So I can't take it anymore. If you can help me solve this problem, it'll be easy for you to become a guard of the treasury or even a supervisor. She said that there were people from powerful organizations who wanted to buy these planets, but they were being forced to sell them at a low price. They were only willing to pay 50% of the market price. This meant that she had suffered a huge loss. If she sold them at such a price, she might not even be able to gather enough money to buy all sorts of materials. Sophia looked at Xia Ping, wanting to know what this kid had in mind. Boom. Before Xia Ping could speak, a spatial ripple appeared in the sky. A figure broke through space and seemed to pass through countless parallel spaces, arriving directly in the sky above the hall. With a whoosh, this person seemed to be fearless. He ignored all the restrictive formations in the castle and appeared in front of Xia Ping and the others. Another near-ancient saint. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He realized that the person who had arrived was a young man dressed in black. He was barehanded and emitted an unparalleled aura. It was unfathomable, and the space around him was distorted. Just this aura and magic power seemed to be stronger than Sophia. Barty, be careful. That's Minerva, the head of the Leinster family. He's a near-ancient sage, and he's no weaker than the head of Sophia. He's also one of the most powerful sages in the illusory tribe. At this time, Emma transmitted her divine sense, informing Xia Ping of this person's identity and background. He absolutely could not offend such a terrifying existence, or else he would die without a doubt. No one would be able to save him. The Leinster family? Could it be the terrifying existence behind Carrie's family? Xia Ping also asked using his divine sense. That's right. That Chris is indeed a member of the Leinster clan and seems to be one of Minerva's direct descendants. But Saint Minerva is so high up that he naturally wouldn't care about descendants as many as the stars in the sky. You don't have to worry about offending Minerva over such a small matter. You just have to be careful and be respectful. Emma warned. But why do I see that Patriarch Sophia's expression is very ugly, as if she doesn't like this Minerva? Xia Ping could see that Sophia was very displeased with this uninvited guest. It was as if she was trying to keep him at arm's length. That's normal. This Saint Minerva has been drooling over the head of the family for a very long time. He's used all kinds of methods to pursue you, but he's always been rejected by the head of the family. This has caused their relationship to be very bad. But this is the matter of the heads of the family, and it has nothing to do with us. Don't get involved or you won't even know how you died. Emma let out a secret. Minerva, what do you mean by this? You're barging into my castle again. Are you treating my territory as your home? Sophia looked at Minerva with displeasure. Don't be angry, Sophia. What's our relationship? Isn't your home my home? It's only a matter of time. You don't have to be so distant and calculative. Minerva waved her hand. When I arrived at this castle just now, I seemed to hear you talking to this kid about selling 3,000 planets. What's wrong? You can't handle this matter, and you're asking a kid to help you? Does this kid have some kind of ability? He swept his gaze across like a high and mighty emperor looking down from above. A terrifying divine sense immediately descended on Xia Ping, enveloping him in all directions. Immediately, Xia Ping sensed a powerful divine sense sweeping back and forth across his body. It seemed to see through every corner of his body and expose all his secrets. Stupid. Xia Ping secretly sneered. The ability of the formless mask on his body was unimaginable. Even if an ancient saint personally made a move, he would not be able to detect anything. What could a mere ancient saint do? How could he deal with the miraculous power of a Khanate treasure? Of course, he still pretended that he did not know anything. After a while, Minerva seemed to be unable to detect anything special about this Xia Ping. He immediately looked down on him, as if he had encountered a weed on the side of the road, and retracted his divine sense. You don't have to care about this matter. Please leave. Sophia gave the order to leave. Sophia, why are you so angry? If you really want to sell those 3,000 planets, why don't you sell them all to me? I can pay 60% of the market price. Minerva stretched out 6 fingers. 60%? Hearing this, Sophia immediately laughed. You want to share? Don't even think about eating a piece of meat from me. Sophia, this price of mine is unprecedented. To be honest, how many people in the entire universe have so much money to completely swallow your 3,000 commercial planets? Minerva said, I've heard a lot of news. Most people are only willing to pay 50% of the market price. I'm offering 60%, which is already letting you earn 10% of the market price. This is a huge benefit. Of course, if you sell them slowly, you might be able to sell them slowly over millions of years. But now you're at a critical moment in refining this high-grade sacred artifact, right? If you miss this opportunity and don't get enough materials, the refining will completely fail. I'm afraid that millions of years of effort will be wasted. Why do you have to be so calculative over this small amount of money? Of course, if you agree to be my woman, dual cultivate with me, and comprehend the great Tao of the universe, then giving you this much money for free is nothing. Get lost. Don't even think about it. I won't agree. Sophia was very angry. She knew that Minerva was taking advantage of her. Sophia, you're actually still being so stubborn. Don't tell me you think that this junior can help you? Minerva's killing intent surged as she looked at Xia Ping with an unfriendly expression. Chapter 2159. Feeling Minerva's murderous aura, Xia Ping only felt that he had suffered an undeserved disaster. This was originally a struggle between two near-ancient saints, but he was involved. However, he still needed Sophia's help, so he couldn't back down here. Thinking of this, Xia Ping stood up and said, Patriarch Sophia, the condition you just proposed is not impossible to sell 3,000 planets. What? Do you have a way to do it? Hearing this, Sophia was taken aback and looked at Xia Ping with a little surprise. If this kid in front of her could do this, she wouldn't need to be threatened by Minerva. Of course I have a way. It's a piece of cake. Xia Ping said lightly. A mouthful of nonsense. Minerva snorted coldly. The younger generation of the Lawrence family is so arrogant now. Do you know what the concept of 3,000 commercial planets is? It's not something an ordinary trash planet can compare to. Each commercial planet is worth at least 10 billion universe credits, and some are even as high as 100 billion universe credits. The value of 3,000 planets adds up to at least 30 trillion universe credits. Even a near-ancient saint can't take out such an amount in a short time. You actually dare to say that you can sell 3,000 planets at the same time without any discount. What a joke. Where can you find a force that can take over? Don't think that you don't have to pay a price for bragging. His body emitted a terrible murderous aura, like an ancient beast, as if it was about to tear the void apart. Boom. Sophia stood in front of Xia Ping and with a light palm, she instantly repelled the murderous aura. Minerva, I won't allow you to hurt the children of the Lawrence family in my territory. A near-ancient saint actually wants to attack a junior. You've really gone too far. Don't you have any self-respect? Minerva sneered. A junior dares to speak nonsense in front of a saint and lie openly. This is a serious crime. If it weren't for you, I would have killed him 8 or 10 times over. Why would I wait until now? What? Who said I'm lying? If you can't do it, others can't do it. Don't be too arrogant. It's better to be low-key. Xia Ping gave him a sidelong glance. Arrogant? You're just a little mortal, a dog that's not even worth a fart. How dare you talk to me like that? Minerva was so angry that he laughed. Ever since he became a saint, most people would only bow down to him and be scared out of their wits by him. He was like an emperor in control of everything, and he would not go back on his word. It had been a long time since someone dared to talk to him like this. However, this ant, who was not even worth a fart, actually dared to make a fuss here, and even dared to say that he was arrogant. He simply did not know how to write the word death. At this moment, he felt that his chest was filled with terrifying flames of rage that would erupt at any moment. He wished for nothing more than to slap the brat in front of him to death. Don't talk nonsense. If you really have the guts, sign a contract with me. Xia Ping said indifferently, if I can sell these 3,000 planets at the market price and win this contract, you will immediately go bankrupt and have to hand over all your assets. If I can't do it, I'll immediately die as an apology. Do you dare to make a contract with me? He directly forced her to abdicate. How dare an ant like you talk to me like this? Who do you think you are? Minerva was enraged. He had never been so angry in his life. He wanted to immediately slap this brat to death. This piece of trash that was like an ant thought that he was qualified to make a contract with him. It was simply wishful thinking. However, Sophia, who was next to him, was glaring like a tiger watching its prey. She emitted a faintly discernible aura, as if she would immediately stop him if he dared to make a move. She would absolutely not give him the chance to do so. Minerva, what do you think? Do you dare to make a bet with a disciple of the Lawrence family? Sophia looked at Minerva with a smile that was not a smile. Humph, what do you think my identity is and what do you think this brat's identity is? Just based on what qualifications he has to make a bet with me? What does his life count for? Minerva sneered, disdainful of this so-called bet. Sophia, since you are not willing to agree, then I will not force you. I want to see if this brat really has this kind of ability. There will come a time when you need to beg me. At that time, I'm afraid the price will not be this. Think about it carefully. After throwing down this sentence, Minerva looked at Xia Ping coldly, then turned around and left. With a whoosh, he traveled through the void and with a few leaps, he left the Lawrence family's ancient castle. But everyone knew that Xia Ping had completely angered Minerva, and triggered a great killing intent from Minerva. Barty, your courage is not bad. You actually dared to offend a near-ancient saint like Minerva. Even when I was young, I definitely did not have such courage. Sophia looked at Xiaoping with admiration. Don't worry, as long as I am here, that Minerva will not dare to make a move against you. But I am not sure about the others, so be careful. She indicated that she could stop Minerva. But as a near ancient saint, if Minerva wanted to kill a junior in the returning truth realm, she had many ways to do so. With a casual order, who knew how many people would want to kill Xiaoping and win Minerva's favor? Emma looked at Xiaoping speechless. She knew that this guy was bold and had no scruples, but she did not expect him to be this bold. He actually dared to talk back to a near ancient saint. He must be tired of living. If she had known that something like this would happen, she definitely would not have brought this guy to the Lawrence castle right now. Now he had offended Minerva, and his little life was frozen in water. Understood, master. Xiaoping nodded. He also felt Minerva's killing intent, but he was skilled and bold, and he had many tricks up his sleeve. Even if Minerva really did make a move, he had a way to escape. So naturally he was not afraid. But was what you said just now true? Do you really have a way to sell 3,000 planets at the market price? This is not a joke. Don't try to fool me in front of my face. Sophia stared at Xiaoping, a hint of coldness on her face as if warning Xiaoping not to lie to her. Of course I am not fooling you, master. I do have a way. Just leave this matter to me. Xiaoping faintly said, confident. All right, then I will leave this matter to you. I don't look at the process, only the result. Oh yes, here is a talisman. I will give it to you now. Activate this saint-grade talisman at a critical moment. It can save your life. Sophia waved her hand, and suddenly a golden talisman flew into Xiaoping's hand. With an unstoppable force, it instantly entered Xiaoping's body, forming a seed, and entered the depths of his dantian. Help? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and a cold smile appeared on his lips. He sensed that this talisman was not as simple as saving his life. At the same time, it also contained the intention of monitoring him. It could monitor his every move at all times. If Sophia wanted to, she could even detonate this talisman and kill him. As expected, these saints of the illusion tribe were not good people. None of them were good people. However, he did not show his emotions, pretending not to know the function of this saint-grade talisman. He still needed to use Sophia's power to help him obtain the sound stone. For now, he would bear with her for a while. Once he achieved his goal, there would be no need to bear with her anymore. Chapter 2160. Alright, you're dismissed. After saying this, Sophia waved her hand and allowed Xiaoping to leave the hall. Xiaoping didn't say anything and left immediately. Patriarch, what do you think of this person? Is there any problem? Emma asked. She was still a little suspicious of Xiaoping, feeling that Barty had changed too much from before. They were two completely different people. Of course, she wasn't very familiar with Barty before, and wasn't sure if he was hiding his strength and biding his time, or if that was his true nature, so it was only a suspicion. There's no problem. He's indeed of the Lawrence family's blood. This kid is a little smart. With some training he might be a pillar of the Lawrence family. Give him some serious advice and don't let him take the wrong path. Sophia said in a low voice. What about the 3,000 planets? Emma looked at Sophia. Leave it to him. Since he's so confident, there will be corresponding punishment if he fails. This is the Lawrence family's rule, and the punishment is clear. If there's nothing else, you're dismissed. Sophia said. Yes, Patriarch. Emma nodded, then bade farewell to Patriarch Sophia and left the palace. At the moment, Xiaoping was waiting for Emma somewhere in the castle. Barty, I'll leave the business of the 3,000 planets to you. If you succeed, then it'll be a piece of cake for you to become a guard of the treasury. If you fail, don't even think about it. Understand? Emma said straightforwardly. It's just a small matter. Xiaoping nodded confidently. How do you want to sell these planets? I believe you know how huge an asset this is. On average, a planet is worth at least 10 billion universe credits. Who can handle such a big deal? Emma was very curious about Xiaoping's plan. She couldn't think of a way to sell these planets and at the original price, no matter how hard she thought. In fact, if it were that simple, the 3,000 planets would have been sold long ago. It's very simple. Xiaoping smiled slightly. I plan to hold a lucky draw and let countless people participate. The prize is a planet, but only a lucky draw ticket can participate in this lucky draw. One lucky draw ticket is worth 10 universe credits. If it's a planet worth 10 billion universe credits, then we can issue 1 billion tickets and hold a lucky draw. The only person who wins the prize will become the owner of the planet. Try to think about it. With just 10 universe dollars, you actually have a chance to become the owner of a planet. Who wouldn't be tempted? Who wouldn't be willing to do it? Hearing this, Love Ma was instantly stunned. His heart was surging. That was indeed the case. Although 10 billion universe dollars was a lot to one person or a faction, it was only a small amount to the entire universe and the countless people on the planets. If he could sell 1 billion lottery tickets, he would be able to easily recover the cost of a planet. It was a steady profit. She was not worried that no one would buy these lottery tickets. This was because the prize was simply too attractive. Just spending 10 universe credits and having the chance to become the owner of a planet would make anyone's heart palpitate. Even if the chances of winning were low, so low that it made one's hair stand on end, it could not stop ordinary people from trying their luck. If they won, then they would probably be rich. If they didn't win, then it did not matter much. It was only 10 universe credits anyway. It would not be a big deal. It was just a drop in the bucket. However, if they succeeded, then they would reach the heavens in a single step. This way, these planets would even become best-selling goods. They could be sold anytime, anywhere. There would be no way for other factions to lower the price, and they could even take the opportunity to make a huge profit. Sometimes, if one looked at it from another perspective, it would be like the sky and the sea. Barty, you're practically a devil. To think you could even think of such a method. No wonder you're so confident. If you can't sell 3,000 planets with this method, then it would be strange. Love Ma was completely convinced. She was full of admiration. Before she said this plan, she felt that it was extremely difficult, but after saying it out loud, she immediately came to a realization. She now felt that this Barty was simply a devil who could see through people's hearts. Everything seemed to become a piece of cake in his hands. He was simply the evil Barty. Fortunately, Minerva had not made a bet with Barty. Otherwise, Minerva would have been in big trouble. Then I'll leave this matter to you. You decide how to operate it yourself, Xiaoping said calmly. This kind of method was nothing in his previous life. It was just a way to sell lottery tickets. The prize money for each issue was tens of millions, and each ticket was worth $2. The chances of winning were obviously extremely high, almost impossible. Even so, even if everyone knew that it was almost impossible for them to win, it still attracted the attention of countless people. Every issue sold for billions. This was the nature of greed. This kind of business was probably even more profitable than selling drugs. Moreover, it was a business without any capital. Unfortunately, this kind of business could only be controlled by the government. Ordinary people could not get involved at all. However, it was different in this universe. There were no such rules and no one could monopolize it. Therefore, Xiaoping could do whatever he wanted. What about you? What are you going to do? Love Ma was stunned. She did not expect Barty to not want to participate in the whole process. I'll go into seclusion. I've been in the limelight recently, so there's no need for me to continue doing so. It's fine as long as I have enough merits to become a treasury guard. Anything more is useless to me. In this universe, strength is the most important. Xiaoping clenched his fist. Not bad. It seems that you haven't been blinded by the recent events. You know when to advance and when to retreat. Very good. I'll do this on your behalf. I won't mistreat you. Hearing this, Love Ma suddenly smiled. This Barty was indeed an extremely smart person. He knew when to advance and when to retreat. If Barty's merits continued to grow, who knew how many people would hate him? He was only in the returning truth realm, and he could not withstand the evil intentions coming from all directions. However, she was different. She was in the Thunder Retribution realm. She was an extremely powerful existence in the Lawrence family. No matter how many merits she had, others would not dare to hate her. Moreover, the more merits she had, the more benefits she would receive from the Lawrence family. Therefore, she was extremely eager to obtain great merits. Now Xiaoping had done her a great favor. Thank you, Elder Love Ma. Xiaoping smiled slightly. He naturally knew what Love Ma was thinking. Unfortunately, she did not know that he was a fake. She had no interest in staying in the illusion race. Her only goal was to obtain the Sound Stone. As long as he obtained the Sound Stone, he could immediately leave. There was no need for him to stay in this place. Of course, he would not say this out loud. He still looked like a member of the illusion race. Chapter 2161. Next, under Emma's manipulation, the news that one could become the lord of a planet by spending 10 universe credits in the lottery spread to all corners of the universe. Immediately, it attracted the attention of countless people and everyone was excited. There was no doubt that this lottery event went very smoothly. The 1 billion lottery tickets for the first planet were sold out in almost an instant, and were easily sold for 10 billion. As for the following 3,000 planets, it was also progressing gradually. It was estimated that it would only take 2 or 3 months to sell them out smoothly, and they might even make a huge profit. Even this matter caused a huge shock among the illusion race. No one had thought that there was such a way to sell planets out. After Minerva, the head of the Leicester family, knew about this, his face became gloomy for a long time. A few ignorant people had provoked him, and he had killed them all, leaving not even their bones behind. His hatred for Xiaoping had deepened. As for Xiaoping, he relied on his identity as a popular person of the Lawrence family to walk around the Lawrence family's territory. No one dared to offend him at this time. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he successfully entered the Lawrence family's library. There were many records of the illusion race's magical powers and secret techniques. Although many magical powers and secret techniques required a certain level to be opened, because of his good relationship with Emma, he had obtained Sophia's tacit approval, which allowed him to smoothly record countless magical powers and secret techniques of the illusion race. These secret techniques were obtained by the illusion race after countless years of accumulation. It was difficult for outsiders to know of their existence, and for countless years they had never been passed on to outsiders. Among these secret techniques, the most basic and powerful secret technique of the illusion race was the 72 illusionary transformations. Using this magical power and the illusion race's bloodline as the foundation, one could transform into anything in the world and imitate it vividly. Many of the illusion race's people used this magical power and secret technique to walk unhindered in the universe. Even if they did all kinds of bad things, they could still transform into other races and escape with ease. Although Xiaoping also had the formless mask and could transform into all kinds of things, he didn't really understand this kind of magical power and couldn't understand the nature of the secret technique. However, after learning the 72 illusionary transformations, Xiaoping also had a deeper understanding of the art of transformation. I see. Xiaoping was suddenly enlightened and activated the 72 transformations illusion. In an instant, countless mysterious energies gathered together in the depths of the void, forming a talisman that looked like a cloud and mist. It was formless, colorless, and traceless, as if it could transform into anything in the world. With a bang, when the transformation talisman fused with his body, he felt that his muscles, bones, and even his blood vessels had undergone incredible changes. He seemed to have a deeper understanding of his own body. In essence, this transformation secret technique was a powerful divine ability to understand and completely control one's own body. In addition to the 72 illusion transformations, Xiaoping also obtained many secret techniques. One of them was called the Infinite Great Void 3000 Clones. It was an extremely powerful escape technique. Once this divine ability was used, it could immediately transform into 3,000 clones, and each clone was enough to pass off as the real one. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to find the real one at all. These clones even had spatial abilities and could instantly escape into the depths of the void. It could be said that after mastering this divine ability, it was equivalent to mastering a powerful escape technique. However, learning this divine ability wasn't a simple matter. First, one had to have magic power that was 100 times stronger than ordinary cultivators. Only then could one easily form 3,000 clones. Secondly, one had to have a strong understanding of the power of space and easily understand the laws of space. Only then would the clones have the space attribute and be able to absorb space energy. Only by combining the two would one be able to successfully cultivate this divine ability. However, the first threshold alone was enough to prevent 99% of people from dying. The second threshold was even more so. As a result, there were only a few among the illusion race who could learn this divine ability. Fortunately, Xiaoping met these two requirements and easily learned this divine ability. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, Xiaoping's thoughts moved and he immediately split into 3,000 clones. Each of the clones filled the surrounding space. They were so densely packed that they even merged into the void. It seemed that as long as he willed it, the 3,000 clones could escape at will and no one would be able to catch up. Moreover, each clone was solid. Without the infernal golden crow's eye, one wouldn't be able to see through the clones. Not a bad escape secret technique. Xiaoping immediately felt very satisfied. With this escape secret technique, he estimated that it would play a huge role at a critical moment. Even if he faced a strong enemy, he would be able to escape easily. Moreover, this secret technique could be used not only for escape but also in battle. Instantly creating 3,000 clones would definitely leave the enemy at a loss. Other than these two secret techniques, he also found many powerful mental secret techniques that were not inferior to the accumulation of the soul race. Because the illusion race didn't just have the ability to transform. At the same time, they were also masters of mental illusion techniques. They could set up illusion array after illusion array to trap the enemy. Some powerful illusion masters could trap countless enemies with just a glance, causing them to fall into the depths of an illusion. One of the more powerful mental secret techniques was the limitless nightmare technique. When this secret technique was cultivated to the extreme, one could instantly pull countless enemies into the nightmare world. Inside there was a myriad of phenomena. If one couldn't see through it, they wouldn't be able to leave the nightmare world and would be trapped forever. This was somewhat similar to the true solution of illusions. However, the true solution of illusions was the fundamental technique of illusions, while this limitless nightmare technique was a powerful secret technique. It was a unique and powerful illusion technique. Interesting. Xiaoping touched his chin. He felt that this secret technique had benefited him a lot. It was enough to raise his illusion power to a higher level, and he could use the power of his soul more skillfully. In addition, he also found many illusion array formations such as the gem maze array, the ghost chilling wind array, and so on. They were all extremely powerful illusion array formations. It also greatly improved his knowledge of array formations, allowing him to obtain countless benefits. He had to admit that the greatest benefit of entering the illusion race might not be the sound grain stones, but the precious knowledge accumulated by the illusion race over countless years. This knowledge should have been learned by the illusion race, but now it was all displayed in front of him. This was probably a huge fortuitous encounter that countless people yearned for. Rumble, as he learned these magical secret techniques, the magic power in Xiaoping's body also rose, naturally advancing. It was more than a level stronger than before, and he was getting closer and closer to the peak of the Thunder Tribulation realm. Vaguely, he felt that he seemed to be getting closer and closer to the Thunder Tribulation. He felt like there was a sword on his back. Chapter 2162. In the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. During this time, Xiaoping was immersed in learning all kinds of secret techniques of the illusion race. He enjoyed himself so much that he forgot to stop. His cultivation didn't need to work hard on it, so it naturally increased. It was like water flowing into a canal. In fact, when one reached this level of martial arts, even if he did not actively train, the techniques in his body would automatically run, achieving the effect of yin and yang merging. If someone saw Xiaoping now, they would find that Xiaoping's aura had no edges and had become round. He had reached the realm of returning to the natural state just like a mortal. This meant that he had completely mastered his surging magic power and divine sense perfectly. Not a single trace of his aura leaked out from his body. No one knew that his body contained a surging violent energy. Once it exploded, it would be earth-shattering. During this time, the tree race elder Rich still could not find the existence of the tree world, so Xiaoping stayed in the illusion peacefully, and no one disturbed him. But at this time, Emma came to him personally. "Barty, your matter has been settled. After the family leader personally intervened, the magic race elder has decided to give you a chance to become a treasure house guard," Emma said to Xiaoping. She indicated that the family leader, Sophia, was very satisfied with Xiaoping's plan, because this matter allowed her to gather enough money, and she did not need to care about the other saints, which allowed her to save face. Therefore, Sophia felt that Xiaoping had done a good job and focused on training him, so she agreed to Xiaoping's request. "A chance? What does that mean?" Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He felt that there might be a twist in this matter. "What are you looking at? It is good to have a chance. After all, this position is a treasure house guard, and the inspection is very strict, and there is a high requirement for strength. If you do not have enough strength, you cannot become a guard." Emma said angrily, "To be honest, with your strength in the returning true realm, you do not have much of a chance, but with the family leader's efforts and with a lot of contributions, the people over there have agreed to give you a chance. If you pass the trial announced by the treasury guards this time, then you will truly be able to obtain this position." Although that was what she said, she also felt embarrassed. Originally this matter was in the bag, but now there was a change. Because there was someone who didn't want Xiaoping to get this position. However, this was a secret and he couldn't say it out loud. "Trial? What kind of trial is it?" Xiaoping asked. He was speechless. This group of people was really unreliable. The saint personally told them to go through some bullshit trial. They really didn't give the saint any face. However, this opportunity wasn't bad either. Even if he needed this trial, it didn't matter. With his strength, there was no trial that he couldn't pass. "Hunting demons," Emma said in a low voice. She said that the illusion race controlled one of the demon channels in the abyss. That place had become a training ground for many illusion race warriors. It was a training ground for martial arts mystiques. And this trial was for those who wanted to compete for the Treasure House Guard to participate together. As long as they could kill 10 returning Nature Realm demons or 1 Transcendence Realm demon, they would pass the trial. This also proved that they had the strength to become a Treasure House Guard. So that's how it is. Then I understand. When will this trial begin? Xiaoping asked. Tomorrow. Gather in front of the mission hall. There are many people participating. Be careful. Emma said the time and place. It was to gather in front of the mission hall. It seemed that an illusion race elder would be the chief examiner. Okay, I understand. Xiaoping nodded. The next day, Xiaoping went directly to a plaza in front of the mission hall. Suddenly he saw many illusion race warriors in the plaza. There were men and women and they stood together neatly. And these people's cultivation was at least in the returning nature realm. Most were in the transcendence realm. There were no Thunder Calamity realm cultivators. After all, after reaching the Thunder Calamity realm, there was no need to be a treasure house guard. They could go to any universe secret realm and take countless treasures back. There was no need to work so hard. This is Chris. All of a sudden, Xiaoping spotted a familiar figure in the crowd. It was Barty's archenemy Chris. In the time that he had not seen this brat, it seemed that his cultivation had increased greatly. His aura was astonishing, and his cultivation had advanced to the returning truth realm, which was already on par with the Barty that Xiaoping had impersonated. Chris obviously noticed Xiaoping's gaze. After he reached the returning nature realm, his face was arrogant. He seemed to be looking down on Xiaoping, saying that he would not lose to anyone. Many people also looked over, obviously noticing Xiaoping. This kid is the Barty that caused a lot of commotion recently? It is said that this kid swindled a few billion and won the bet with Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob, causing Elder Jacob to become a pauper. He must have gone mad from anger. That's right. No way. This kid is so powerful. Doesn't that mean he has a lot of money? If he is so rich, why is he fighting with us for the treasure house guard position? Who says they have too much money? This kid probably has his eyes on this position and wants to get some benefits. No matter what, this is a lucrative job. More money, less work. Indeed. Some nobles know that it is very difficult to get this position. No matter how many connections they pull, it is useless. This kid just reached the returning nature realm. This trial is very difficult. We need to kill demons. This guy is not a big threat. There is nothing to fear. Indeed. That's indeed the case. Who knows, if a bunch of fiendish demons charge at him, this kid will be dead. It's good that he is dead. Maybe we can get a share of the treasures he left behind. Everyone discussed animatedly. The way they looked at Xiaoping was very strange and sinister. Their faces were full of malicious intent. If there was a chance, they would not mind killing and robbing. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Just then, 3 figures flew over from afar. They emitted the powerful aura of the Thunder Calamity realm. They suppressed the void and descended in front of everyone. Everyone quieted down. Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He immediately recognized the 3 people in charge of this trial mission. One of them was his archenemy, the person he had offended, the Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob. He immediately felt a sense of threat. This trial mission might be a big conspiracy. These people did not come with good intentions. No matter how he looked at it, he seemed to have barged into a tiger's den. Please remember this book's domain name. Third Sect Leader's mobile version. Chapter 2163. However, Xiaoping was bold and fearless. He was not afraid of such things. If it was the real Barty, he would have been dead by now. At that moment, Mission Hall Supervisor Jacob said, "All of you are here to apply for the position of Treasury Guard. The requirements for this position are very high. First of all, you must be strong. If you don't have extremely strong combat power, you can only dream of becoming a Treasury Guard. I, Jacob, am one of the chief examiners of this assessment. I am impartial and impartial. Anyone who wants to go through the back door, those idiots who can only rely on their connections to get this opportunity, or those good-for-nothings who want to fish in troubled waters in front of me, will not be able to do so. Remember them all." He glanced at Xiaoping and a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Of course, on the surface he was still an impartial examiner and would not bend the law for personal gain. Chris, who was in the crowd, also sneered. He looked at Xiaoping as if he was looking at a dead man. "All right, I won't say much." Jacob continued, This time your assessment location is in the Abyss continent. You must clear a sufficient number of abyssal demons to complete the task and pass the assessment. If you can't clear a sufficient number, then it proves that you are not strong enough to take up the position of treasury guard. That means you have failed the assessment. But I have to remind you that the assessment to enter the Abyss world this time is not child's play. Those abyssal demons are extremely powerful, evil, and cruel. If you let your guard down, you will die inside and no one can save you. Alright, who wants to quit? It's not too late to do so now. When the thousands of illusion clansmen heard this, their faces showed pride. Since they were able to compete for the position of treasury guard, they naturally knew the content of this assessment. If they were not strong enough, they would have given up long ago. Although this assessment seemed very difficult, as long as they were careful with their strength, they could easily complete it. It was not a mission with 9 out of 10 chances of survival. Supervisor. At this time, Xiaoping stood up and said, I suddenly feel a little uncomfortable. Can I apply to take the assessment again next time? What? Hearing this, the surrounding people looked at him with disdain. Could it be that this kid was afraid of failing the assessment so he wanted to retreat? As expected, he was a gutless bandit. He did not have any courage. Bullshit, take the test next time? Can you ask your mother to give birth to you later? This has already been decided. How can she change the test date just because of you? Who do you think you are? Even if your father is a saint, he can't change this. Jacob sneered. He could tell at a glance that this brat was timid. Knowing that he had become an examiner, he wanted to retreat. Perhaps he knew that he would harm him during the examination, so he wanted to withdraw from the examination. But how could he let this kid do this? If he really withdrew from the assessment, he didn't know how long it would take for him to find a chance to take revenge. If that's the case, I'll give up. Xiaoping still wanted to say something. But before Xiaoping could say anything, Jacob immediately said, All right, let's cut to the chase. Since you've all agreed to participate in the test, you can teleport to the Abyss continent now. We've already activated the teleportation array. Everyone just stand still. He had no intention of saying any words of rejection to Xiaoping. You've already boarded the pirate ship, and you still want to escape? Do you think it's that easy? Stop your wishful thinking. Rumble, in an instant, a huge teleportation array on the square vibrated and bloomed with dazzling light. It was like a sky full of stars, connecting to the Abyss world. The space changed and everyone present was teleported out of the square. In the next second, they immediately appeared in a pitch-black, gloomy world where they couldn't even see their own fingers. This Abyss world was filled with a dark aura, flowing with abyssal, corrosive, cursed, evil, and other energies. From time to time, angry roars of demons could be heard from afar. All the people of the illusion race instinctively felt waves of fear. This was not a place suitable for ordinary people to stay in. There would be terrifying abyssal demon energy eroding their bodies at all times. If it wasn't for completing the assessment mission, they would definitely not be willing to come to this damned place. It really is the Abyss world. The illusion race actually found a teleportation array that connects to the Abyss world. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Sir Examiner, how can we return to the illusion world after completing the mission? Someone asked. That's simple. All of you have a mysterious imprint left behind by the illusion race. As long as you activate this imprint, you can immediately break through the space and pull you back to the illusion world. Jacob opened his mouth and said, Of course, if you want to activate this imprint, you must be in an absolutely safe place. If you are in the middle of a battle, you can't activate it. Even if you forcefully activate it, it will be destroyed. Everyone must remember this. Everyone nodded. They indeed saw a mysterious imprint similar to the swastika symbol appear on their wrists. It seemed to contain a tyrannical energy that could connect to the illusion world. Alright, stop talking nonsense. You can leave now and quickly complete the mission. This assessment mission only has 10 days. After this time, it will be considered a failure regardless of whether you kill enough demons or not. Jacob said in a low voice. His eyes revealed a trace of coldness. Yes. When everyone heard this, they all felt a sense of urgency. They felt that they couldn't waste any more time in this place. They all flew in all directions wanting to find enough demons to kill. Xiaoping also wanted to choose a direction to leave in. But before he moved, Jacob and the other 3 Lightning Tribulation Realm examiners, as well as a dozen returning Truth Realm and Transcendence Realm cultivators, immediately surrounded him. When the others saw this, they didn't dare to care at all. Instead, they ran as fast as they could. They knew that if they were involved in this matter, they would definitely be killed. In just a few breaths' time, This group of unrelated people disappeared from this place. Only Xiaoping, Jacob, Carrie, and the others were left. In an instant, this place was filled with murderous intent. The cold wind rustled and everything was silent. Elder Jacob, what do you want to do? Xiaoping looked at the group of people surrounding him and said calmly, do you want to harm me? Do you know the rules of the illusion race? If you kill each other, you won't gain anything. Don't make a mistake. Please remember this book's domain name. Chapter 2164. Someone to rely on? You make it sound like I don't have anyone to rely on. Hearing this, Jacob laughed. It's fine if you offended me before. You have Patriarch Lawrence to rely on, so I really couldn't do anything to you for a while. I could only tuck my tail between my legs in front of you and don't dare to retaliate. But of all the things you should never have done, you actually offended Saint Minerva, causing his plan to fail. You made him so furious that he wanted nothing more than to tear you into pieces and dismember you, do you understand? He was very arrogant and happy. Originally, with Saint Sophia's support, he didn't dare to act rashly. He was afraid of offending Sophia and being slapped to death. The anger of a saint was not something he could handle. But it was different now. He had Saint Minerva's support, so his guts were boundless. This trial mission was a trap to kill this kid. If he could complete this mission, not only would he be able to take his revenge, but he would also be able to earn the recognition of Saint Minerva and soar to the heavens from then on. Saint Minerva? How did I offend him? I just said a few words to his face and he's so angry. Are all saints so petty? So petty? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. Shut up. Do you think you can slander Patriarch Minerva's reputation? You won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Just those words alone are enough to kill you 10 times over. Carrie jumped out and angrily scolded Xiaoping. Minerva was the elder patriarch of the Rinster family. He had a high status and was like a god. This bastard dared to slander the elder patriarch and call him petty. He didn't know what was good for him. He wanted to tear this kid to pieces. He really didn't know how to repent even at death's door. This isn't slander, it's the truth. Who doesn't know that Minerva is petty? Xiaoping said indifferently. You still dare to be so arrogant? Do you want to die now? Carrie was furious and flew into a rage. Carrie, don't worry. This kid will die sooner or later. He's right. We illusion people can't kill each other. This is the rule. Even saints can't break it. Jacob waved his hand, stopping Chris. He then looked at Xiaoping and said darkly, I won't kill you myself in case someone finds out and maliciously attacks you. So, you exposed your own aura and acted as bait in this place to attract the Abyss demons and help Kelly complete his mission. It's not like you can't live. Of course, you can't refuse even if you want to. This is an order. Even if you're unwilling, we'll do it ourselves. We'll control your body and make you the bait. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. In the Abyss world, there were countless demons and dangers everywhere. If he exposed his aura would be as dazzling as the sun in the ghostly Abyss world. Once this information was leaked, countless abyssal demons would rush over like moths to a flame. They would tear this person to shreds and kill him. Therefore, many cultivators who entered the Abyss world to train were very careful. They concealed their aura for fear of being discovered by those Abyss demons. This was the only way to survive. If anyone dared to release their aura unscrupulously in the Abyss world, they would be courting death, and it was purely because they had lived for too long. And now, Jacob wanted Xiaoping to release his aura so that Xiaoping would seek his own death. This way the ones who killed Xiaoping would not be them but the Abyss demons. No matter what happened in the future, they would be able to extricate themselves from this matter. No one would be able to catch them. And they could also use this opportunity to attract a large number of Abyss demons and help Kelly and the others kill the demons and complete their mission. This was a plan that killed many birds with one stone. That's right. Immediately release your aura and act as bait for us to attract those stupid Abyss demons. Otherwise, I'll make you cry rhythmically. Do you understand? Kelly smiled sinisterly. He was very proud of himself as though he had Xiaoping in his grasp. Ridiculous. You think you can kill me with this group of people? It's not like I don't have any tricks up my sleeves. With a boom, Xiaoping took out a talisman in an instant. And this talisman was the one that Sophia had given him to protect himself. At the same time, it was a talisman to monitor him. Without saying anything, he immediately activated the talisman and threw it towards this group of people. This talisman released endless golden light. It contained terrifying power that tore through everything and pierced through the void. Saint-grade talisman? Just as Saint Minerva expected, You do indeed have a talisman bestowed upon you by Saint Sophia. This is something that we have already expected. Jacob was calm and composed. That's right. You think you're the only one with a Saint-grade talisman and we don't? Break. Turtle shell talisman. Kelly shouted angrily and took out a blue talisman from his body. Boom! Suddenly this blue talisman expanded with the wind, instantly turning into a huge blue turtle shell. It was incomparably thick, and it connected to the earth element power in the depths of the dimension. Layer upon layer, densely packed, it enveloped everyone. Bang bang bang. Beams of golden light bombarded the blue turtle shell, causing banging sounds to ring out. However, not a single beam of golden light was able to pierce through the blue turtle shell. The person inside was also unharmed. Haha, stupid Barty. You don't have a Saint-grade talisman now, right? Let's see how you die this time. Kelly was very proud, thinking that victory was already in his grasp. He felt that with a Saint-grade talisman in hand, he could even exchange a few blows with a Tribulation Realm powerhouse. Barty, surrender now. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead, Jacob shouted. Jacob shouted. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and a murderous aura surged. You want to make me wish I was dead? I'll let you have the ability first. I'm not going to play with you this time. Sooner or later we'll settle the score. Just you wait. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiaoping immediately used a magic of the illusory tribe, Infinite Void 3000 clones. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, 3,000 clones of Xiaoping appeared within a radius of 1,000 kilometers. They were densely packed, covering the entire area. Every single one of them emitted a condensed aura that was extremely real. What's going on? Why are there so many Barties all of a sudden? There are 3,000 of them. Are you kidding me? Kelly was stunned. He didn't expect something like this to happen. From what he could sense, these Barties seemed to be real. There was nothing strange about them. Impossible. This is our illusory tribe's strongest escape magic, Infinite Void 3000 clones. I wanted to learn it before, but I couldn't. I don't have the talent. Even in the entire illusory tribe, only a few can learn this magic. How did you learn it, kid? How is this possible? I don't believe it. When Jacob and the other Tribulation Realm powerhouses saw this, they immediately screamed. They couldn't believe it at all. They recognized this magic, Infinite Void 3000 clones. Their eyes immediately turned green with jealousy. Chapter 2165. Just you wait. I will come back for revenge. After Xiaoping said this, he immediately left. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The 3,000 clones flew off in all directions, merging into the depths of space. Their speed was unbelievably fast. Everyone could only watch helplessly. These were 3,000 clones and every one of them was real. They only had a dozen people at most. How could they catch up to 3,000 clones? It was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Damn it. Jacob was so angry that he almost died. He had thought that this plan was in the bag, but he did not expect such an unforeseen event to occur. This kid had actually learned the 3,000 infinite Great Void clones. This secret technique was extremely powerful. Once learned, even a Retribution Realm cultivator would not be able to see through it. Maybe if he had some time he would be able to see through it. After all, his opponent was only a Restoration Realm cultivator. The problem was that not only was it hard to tell the real from the fake, but it was also extremely fast and contained the power of space. Therefore his opponent did not give him the time to do so. This was why this technique was so powerful. Not only was it hard to tell the real from the fake, but it also had many clones and was extremely fast. When the two were combined, it was practically invincible and impossible to stop. It was known as the #1 escaping technique of the magic. However, the difficulty of cultivating it was also extremely high. In the entire history of the illusion race, there were only a handful of people who were able to perfectly learn this mystic art. In fact, they could be counted on one hand. It's over. It's all over. We let this kid escape and ruin the Elder's plan. What should we do? Everyone's faces were green. They were helpless. If they could not complete the Elder's mission, they would all be heavily punished. Chris and Jacob's faces were also pale. They had no idea what to do. They never thought Barty would have a technique like this. A technique like this. Damn it. That despicable Barty. I didn't think he was so shrewd. After learning this technique he was still so low-key. I've been tricked. Chris looked up to the sky and howled. He felt extremely humiliated. He thought that Barty had pretended to be useless and let him bully him. In reality he despised him and mocked him countless times. When he thought about how he had been mocked and mocked for such a long time, and how he had been toyed with like a fool, he was so angry that his pride couldn't accept it at all. A bunch of trash. You can't even handle such a small matter. At that moment, a voice came from the depths of the void, reverberating through the void and reaching the depths of Jacob and the others' consciousness. Saint Minerva. Hearing this, Jacob and the others were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground, trembling uncontrollably. They had not expected Saint Minerva to still be following them and monitoring them at all times. I'm sorry, Saint Minerva. We're useless and incompetent. Jacob and the others knelt down and begged for mercy, not daring to make any excuses. Forget it, I can't blame you for this. I didn't expect this little bastard to be able to learn the 3,000 clones of the infinite void. This kind of talent is top-notch even in the history of the illusory tribe. With this kind of talent and even offending me, Minerva, there's no way he can live. Minerva's voice was filled with murderous intent. But I can't do it myself, or I'll be breaking the rules and will be punished by the Council of Elders. So I'll only do it once. Judging from his words, he was still quite fearful of the Council of Elders of the illusory tribe and did not dare to disobey them. I've already left an aura lock on that kid. Follow this aura and chase after him. Even if he uses the 3,000 clones of the infinite void later, he won't be able to hide from you. This time you must kill him. Otherwise don't come back. Minerva was filled with murderous intent. Yes, Saint Minerva. Jacob and the others knelt down and thanked him. With a boom, a golden light shot out from the depths of the void and landed on Jacob's hand. Then, the vortex in the depths of the void quickly disappeared as if it had never been there. Chase after him and kill that kid. After obtaining the golden talisman, Jacob was filled with murderous intent as he gritted his teeth. Yes. Cree and the others said angrily. This time they had completely infuriated Saint Minerva and made him furious. If they still could not complete the mission, they would die without a doubt. Without a doubt, this time if they did not die, it would be that kid. At this moment in Lawrence Castle, Saint Sophia and Emma were together. Master, this trial mission is a trap. Barty will die without a doubt. Why do you still want him to go? Emma looked at Saint Sophia with a puzzled expression. Don't you know the reason? Sophia said calmly, looking at Emma. Because he offended Minerva? Incurred the wrath of Saint Minerva? But it's also because of you, Lord Family Head, that this happened. Emma said. Yes, this happened because of me. But so what? Minerva's wrath needs to be appeased, and this kid's life is a good price to pay. Sophia said mercilessly. But he helped you, Master? Emma could not understand at all. Yes, he helped me and I am very grateful. But he offended Minerva and incurred the wrath of the saint. This is his fault, Sophia said calmly. Sophia said calmly, he is a very talented person and very smart. However, people who are too smart always die very quickly because they know too much. No one can control them. Emma did not know what to say. All right, Emma, there is no need to say such things. Since it has already happened, there is no turning back. That kid is already dead. I have already sensed that a talisman I gave him has disappeared. He was probably besieged and had no choice but to use this talisman. Sophia's eyes flashed as if she had sensed something. But because the abyss world was too far away, she could only sense that the talisman that had a mental connection with her had disappeared. She did not know what had happened in the abyss world. But what if Barty is not dead? Emma asked unwillingly. If he is not dead, it means that the kid is not fated to die. Even Minerva's scheme could not kill him, so he naturally has the right to live. Sophia's expression was very calm. But this way our relationship with him will become hostile. Emma said. Hostile. Hearing this, Sophia suddenly laughed very loudly. I am a saint, and that kid is just an ant in the returning truth realm. So what if we become hostile? Will he bite me? A chess piece will always be a chess piece. It will never be able to resist the player. So be it. This matter ends here. There is no need to discuss it anymore. Yes, Master. Please remember this book's domain name. Chapter 2166. Whoosh. At that moment, Xiaoping had traveled thousands of kilometers and landed on top of a dark mountain. He also sensed that Chris and the others were still chasing after him, and they were not giving up. Of course, he also knew that he had a saint's will engraved on him. He could use his own strength to get rid of the will, but that would alert Saint Minerva and expose his identity. There was no need to do that. In fact, he had sensed Saint Minerva's aura hidden in the depths of the void from the very beginning. Therefore he did not plan to kill Chris and the others. Instead he chose to escape. Xia Ping even pretended to be defeated and used up the talisman Sophia gave him to get rid of Sophia's surveillance. It was a plan that killed many birds with one stone. However, he had to admit that Sophia was really ruthless. He had done her a great favor, but she abandoned him just like that, making him a target for Minerva to vent her anger on. As expected, none of the illusory tribe's saints were trustworthy. They were all cruel and selfish people. Fortunately, Xia Ping did not have any expectations for such a life from the beginning. The only thing he could rely on in this world was himself, and that was the most reliable thing. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At that moment, Jacob, Chris, and the others finally caught up and surrounded Xia Ping in an instant. There was no space for him to escape. Kid, you can run. You're pretty good at running. Let me see if you can run again. Chris roared and glared at Xia Ping with murderous intent. Because of this brat, they had been severely scolded by Saint Minerva, causing them to lose all face. Right now he wanted nothing more than to kill this brat 8 to 10 times over. Barty, you didn't expect this, did you? You've learned the 3000 Great Void clones. It's indeed the most powerful escape technique. If we didn't have some skills, you really would have gotten away. Jacob sneered, but it's different now. We've seen through all of your movements. No matter how crafty you are, you can't escape from our grasp. You should just give up on that thought. His murderous intent towards Xia Ping was getting stronger. If he had only been angry at the fact that the kid before him had humiliated him, turned him into a pauper, and caused him to lose all of his dignity, it was completely different after witnessing the kid's 3000 Infinite Cosmos clones. He immediately listed this brat as the greatest enemy of his life. In time, this brat's achievements would definitely surpass him. If this bastard continued to grow, then he, Jacob, would not be a match for him at all. He might even be surpassed by his latecomer. He could only watch as this kid ate the dust behind him. He would never be able to catch up. Such a mortal enemy naturally needed to be eradicated immediately. What's the point? There's no deep hatred between us. If we stop here, it's not like there's no room for reconciliation between us. I won't bother you anymore. What do you think? Xia Ping sighed and stood with his hands behind his back. No deep hatred. You're fucking kidding me? Jacob shouted. After losing the bet with you, I ate a ton of shit and became the laughingstock of the illusion race. Do you know how much humiliation I've suffered? I've lost all my face in this life, and you still dare to say there's no deep hatred between us? If I want you to die, it won't be a pity even if you die 10 times. Do you understand? His eyes were filled with endless hatred. When he thought of what happened that day, he almost vomited. Chris and the others looked at Jacob with pity. It was as if they could see the tears at the corner of his eyes. As a Thunder Retribution Realm expert, he was forced to eat a ton of shit. They never thought that such a thing would happen. It was no wonder that Jacob hated Barty to the bone. It wasn't without reason. If they encountered such a thing, they probably wouldn't want to continue living. So that's how it is. Then I understand. There's no room for reconciliation between us. It's either you die or I live. Xia Ping nodded, indicating that he understood. Wrong. It's you who dies and I who lives. That's your ending? Jacob sneered. But before he could finish his sentence, his hair suddenly stood on end. He felt a great danger. Because at this time, Xia Ping directly attacked. He didn't use any magic or secret technique. It was just an ordinary punch. But it made Jacob's hair stand on end. He felt that this punch seemed to transcend space, blurring his 6 senses. It looked slow, but it was unbelievably fast. No. Jacob tried to defend. But all he could do was shout out and the fist came flying over. It was filled with a boundless killing intent and a terrifying fist force that permeated through the void. Jacob didn't know what happened. His body was hit hard and his whole body was crushed. Even his primordial spirit was completely destroyed, turning into a bloody mist. Jacob dead. This is a joke, right? Elder Jacob is dead. He was killed by a punch just like that? What happened just now? Carrie and the others were dumbfounded. They were completely dumbfounded. Their brains had already lost their ability to think. They were at a complete loss. According to their thinking, Jacob should have captured Barty and beaten the kid to a pulp, torturing him so viciously that he almost didn't look human anymore. That was the normal development. But what was going on? This kid just punched and Elder Jacob's body was crushed, turning him into a bloody mist. He couldn't even struggle. Damn it. Impossible. You can't be Barty. Who the hell are you? Another Lightning Tribulation Realm elder screamed with all his might. Jacob is a Lightning Tribulation Realm expert. Even cultivators at the same level as him can't kill him with a single punch and turn him into ashes. The real Barty definitely can't have this kind of strength. Even if he ascended to heaven, he can't improve by leaps and bounds. Who the hell are you? Why are you pretending to be Barty? A fake Barty? Hearing this, Carrie and the others immediately felt their hair stand on end. They also thought of all the inharmonious feelings they had before. If this person in front of them wasn't the real Barty, but a fake, then everything would make sense. But if that was the case, it would be even more terrifying. Because of the illusion's proud inspection system, there had never been an invasion since ancient times. Now, someone had infiltrated the illusion realm without them noticing. This was more terrifying than anything else. It meant that the illusion's lair had been discovered by an outsider. If this news was leaked, it would be a disaster for the illusion. Retreat. Retreat immediately. Report to the old ancestor. Tell him there's an enemy invasion. An enemy invasion. Even if we die, we have to spread this news. Another Thunder Retribution Realm Elder also roared, telling everyone to retreat. He hoped to spread this news and alert the illusion race's upper echelons to eliminate this damned spy. Chapter 2167. However, just as this Thunder Retribution Realm Elder shouted, Xiaoping rushed over and punched again. Dong. This was like the rumble of a war drum. His body couldn't withstand it at all. Even the armor on his body was penetrated by the terrifying fist energy, shattering on the spot and exploding like fireworks. With just a single punch, the elder was killed without being able to resist at all. Large amounts of blood poured down, dyeing the ground red. This scene instantly scared the wits out of Chris and the others. If they hadn't reacted earlier, then they had now seen this scene clearly, no matter how big or small it was. The dead elder was even more terrifying than Jacob in terms of combat strength, but he was still no match for Xiaoping. He was killed with a single punch, as easy as chopping vegetables. If this punch had been used against them, they probably wouldn't have fared much better. They would have been killed directly without even leaving a corpse. Barty, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please spare my life. I don't know anything. It was all because of the old ancestor. Please spare me this time. In the future, I will definitely turn over a new leaf and not repeat the same mistakes. Carrie begged for mercy, extremely terrified. At this time, he didn't care whether this person in front of him was the real Barty or not. In any case, he only cared if he could survive. In fact, the more he knew at this time, the faster he would die. Turn over a new leaf? No need. Just turn over a new leaf in your next life. Hearing this, Xiaoping shook his head. If an apology could solve all problems, then what was the point of having the police? He didn't hold back and punched again. Immediately, Carrie and the other examinees didn't even have time to scream. The fist energy swept past them, and their bodies shattered like glass, turning them into countless pieces. With their strength, they couldn't even withstand the wind from Xiaoping's fist. Just a sweep of it was enough to shake them to death. In the distance, the mountains couldn't withstand the wind from the fist and collapsed one after another. Some mountains that were tens of thousands of meters tall were even smashed in half, directly disappearing into thin air. The wind from the fist forcefully carved out a path that spanned thousands of kilometers on the ground. Cracking sounds rang out as countless rocks were shaken into powder. Bastard, even if I die, I won't let you go. The remaining Thunder Retribution Realm Elder shouted angrily. His expression was ferocious. He seemed to know that he couldn't escape the fate of death, so he actually became bold. A terrifying destructive force surged out from his body. He was actually going to self-destruct on the spot. Can't stop it. Xiaoping's figure flashed because this person's self-destruction was too decisive. He couldn't stop it at all. He immediately used his divine ability and fled 500 kilometers away to avoid the self-destruction of this lightning tribulation eminence. Rumble, in an instant, everything within a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers was flattened. Mountains were blasted into dust, and a black mushroom cloud rose into the air, covering 1,000,000 kilometers. Terrifying destructive fluctuations spread out layer by layer. It was like a planet exploding, sweeping through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. This kind of radiance was like the birth of the sun, penetrating millions of kilometers. Such a light was incomparably dazzling in the darkness of the abyss world. It was like a lighthouse in the darkness, tearing apart the thick darkness and pointing out the direction for the other abyss demons. He's actually finding trouble for me even after death. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and walked out from the depths of the void. He hid in the space of the mountain river Pearl, avoiding most of the destructive fluctuations of magic power. This lightning tribulation eminence's self-destruction couldn't harm him at all. This person was also completely dead. His essence spirit was destroyed and there was no sign of life. The problem was that this had completely alarmed all the abyss demons within a radius of millions of kilometers. He could sense countless abyss demons flying over from afar. They were surging over like an ocean. Clearly this was the lightning tribulation elder's goal. Even if he couldn't kill Xiaoping with his self-detonation, the destructive fluctuations would still attract the attention of other powerful abyssal demons. Those abyssal demons would then surround and kill Xiaoping. This person's plan was also very successful. The power of the lightning tribulation eminence's self-destruction attracted the attention of countless abyss demon armies. Just within the range of Xiaoping's divine sense, there were hundreds of millions of abyss demons surrounding him. Xiaoping stood at the center of the explosion. His qi and blood were vigorous, and like the sun, he guided the direction for all the abyss demons. They were like moths flying into a flame. He was bold because of his skill, and he had no intention of escaping. Kiki humans. There are indeed humans in this place. I sensed it just now. Such rich and hot yang qi can only be possessed by human almighties. This kind of qi and blood makes me very excited. If I can devour one, my cultivation will definitely increase greatly. He's over there. That human didn't run. He's still in front. Arrogant. Human, you are very arrogant. You actually dare to fight in the abyss world. Are you looking down on us? Looks like this human's strength isn't simple either. What's there to be afraid of? We have many abyss demons. We can drown him with just a mouthful of saliva. Numerous abyss demons charged over. There were many types of abyss demons. There were oxhorn demons, goathorn demons, bat demons, blood-sucking demons, heavenly demons, and so on. There were simply countless types. They rode demonic winds, forming a terrifying dark tide. They covered the sky and covered the earth as they charged over. The surrounding void was filled with a terrifying murderous aura. It was simply chilling. Without a doubt, this was an army of abyss demons. Moreover, they were well-trained and orderly. They seemed to have been guided by an expert. They didn't have the scattered troops that Xiaoping had encountered in the abyss world. The combined strength of these abyss demons was more than 10 times stronger than those scattered troops. Interesting. Let's try the illusion race's mind secret technique. Xiaoping had an idea and formed a seal with both hands. Illusion race's mystique, limitless nightmare technique. Rumble in an instant with Xiaoping's body as the center, a powerful mind wave silently seeped out. It was like a huge mind boundary of nothingness, spreading over a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. In just a breath's time, this huge mind boundary shrouded the entire area, causing this army of abyss demons to fall into the nightmare world in an instant. Even heavenly demons couldn't resist such a mystique secret technique. In an instant, these abyss demons fell into the limitless hell world. They couldn't differentiate reality from illusion at all. They killed each other. There was no need for Xiaoping to do anything. These abyss demons engaged in a life and death battle with each other. They treated each other as their most hated enemy. A large number of abyss demons died rapidly. As expected of the illusion race's mystique secret technique. Such a mystique is simply terrifying, especially against those living creatures with weaker mind power. It's simply a killing machine. With just a thought, countless living creatures could fall into the nightmare world, unable to extricate themselves. Xiaoping was very satisfied with the power of this mystique secret technique. He didn't even need to do anything and these abyss demons killed each other. It saved him a lot of effort. Stop, human. How dare you use such a sneaky move to kill my demon race army? You are courting death. At this moment there was a roar from afar. Chapter 2168. Boom! Just as he finished speaking, a terrifying wave of abyss demon chi surged out from the depths of the void. A huge vortex appeared, and the terrifying abyss demon chi transformed into a huge demon hand that grabbed down. Dong! Just one palm strike, and the nightmare barrier that enveloped the land was immediately shattered. Terrifying energy waves shook the surroundings, creating a buzzing sound and countless ripples. A huge palm print appeared on the ground, imprinted in the void. It was thousands of kilometers long, and the entire land was covered in dense cracks. It was a terrifying scene. However, because of the delay, even though this expert had suddenly appeared to stop Xiaoping's boundless nightmare art, more than half of the abyss demon army had died, and the demon army had suffered heavy losses. Whoosh! At this time, a tall middle-aged man in a black battle robe with bull horns on his head walked out from the depths of the void. He stared at Xiaoping viciously. Human from the illusion race, why did you attack my demon army? Have you forgotten the alliance between the illusion race and the abyss race? Are you planning to break the abyss alliance? His tone was filled with terrifying anger, like a supervolcano that could erupt at any time. Because more than half of the demon army had died, his army had suffered heavy losses. This middle-aged man's aura was very powerful. He was an immortal-level demon, and his entire body contained the aura of immortality. Abyss Alliance? What Abyss Alliance? Hearing this, Xiaoping was stunned. Generally speaking, the Abyss Demon Army would fight and kill when they encountered the living beings of the various races. They would never show mercy and they would never ask for the reason. But now he was asking about the Abyss Alliance. Did he misunderstand that he was a sage from the illusion race? But if that was the case, the problem was huge. Could it be that the illusion race had signed some kind of agreement with the Abyss Demon Army? Otherwise, this Abyss Demon Army would not say such a thing. Of course, he could not rule out the possibility that this Abyss Demon Army was lying. You don't seem to know about this. Are you a disciple of the illusion race who just advanced to the immortal realm? Or are you not from the illusion race at all? The black-robed middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a cold light, and his killing intent surged. If that's the case, since you know the secret of my race, I will not allow you to leave this place alive. Interesting. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. It seemed like the illusion race's waters were deeper than he had imagined. The illusion race seemed to have colluded with the abyss demons. This was not simple. Die, human. The black-robed middle-aged man shouted angrily. He held a demonic blade in his hand and rushed towards Xiaoping. Abyssal Divine Ability, 9 Abyss Demonic Thunder. This was a terrifying mystique that it had refined by collecting the endless baleful aura of the abyssal world and using the power of demonic lightning in its body to kill billions of ordinary demons and absorb their souls. Once it erupted, it would create a terrifying explosion. It would be as if billions of lightning bolts were striking down, thousands of volcanoes would erupt, thousands of planets would explode, and everything within a range of billions of kilometers would be turned into dust. Even the nearby space would be shattered by the shockwave. Its power was so terrifying that even a sage with an immortal body would be blown to death. In an instant, terrifying bolts of black lightning emerged from the black-robed man's body. Countless black talismans were hidden within them, emitting a terrifying destructive aura. Thousands upon thousands of ball-shaped lightning bolts bombarded down at the same time, like thousands of missiles, locking onto Xiaoping's chi activity. No matter where he fled to, they would follow him. Rumble, at that moment, thousands upon thousands of ball-shaped lightning bolts exploded at the same time. It was as if many demons from the abyss had self-destructed, producing an extremely terrifying explosive power. In that instant, it seemed as if everything within a range of billions of kilometers had been destroyed. All the vitality was blasted into dust, showing signs of collapsing. It was as if doomsday had arrived, destroying everything. Even the surrounding void space trembled billions of times. The surrounding mountains were instantly turned into dust. Even the demons nearby could not withstand it. They were all blasted into dust just by coming into contact with some of the aftershocks. However, the black-robed middle-aged man did not care at all. He only wanted to kill the human in front of him. As for the demon soldiers, they were just cannon fodder. He could have as many as he wanted. Good timing. Xiaoping was fearless. He grabbed out with his hand, and the golden slime immediately turned into a golden greatsword, which he held in his hand. Immediately he stood on the ground with both feet as if he was Mother Earth. A tremendous and unfathomable power was transmitted from the depths of his feet, allowing him to condense the body of the earth. It was as if at that moment he had become Mother Earth. Nothing could shake him. His strength increased by tens of times, and invincible power surged through every cell in his body. Kill? Xiaoping held the golden greatsword in his hand and slashed forward lightly. With a pft, the golden greatsword produced a terrifying sharpness, triggering a terrifying sword aura. It seemed to have sliced the void space apart, leaving a black trail. No matter what it was, it could not withstand such a sharp force. The boundless air waves, terrifying explosive power and violent energy tides that were heading for Xiaoping were all sliced apart by the sword. All of them flew towards Xiaoping's body. The sword aura even sliced apart countless 9 abyss demonic thunders and slashed towards the black-robed middle-aged man. Its speed had reached the speed of light and it could not be seen by the naked eye. How is this possible? The black-robed middle-aged man screamed. He had never expected something like this to happen. He had unleashed his full strength, but it had no effect on this kid. It was just a single sword attack, but it had sliced apart all of his attacks. The sword aura was still heading for his body. The speed was too fast and there was no way to avoid it or block it. Donk. In a split second, the body of this undying demon was sliced in half like a vegetable being sliced into a watermelon. It was not as simple as his body being sliced apart. Even his undying primordial spirit was sliced apart. Instantly, he felt excruciating pain as though he had been subjected to endless torture. All the pain in the world could not compare to this. Along the way, the sword aura traversed billions of kilometers, almost slicing the land in half. It was as though the land had been sliced into a huge abyss. Many abyssal demons nearby were also killed by the sword aura. All of them were sliced into pieces and not even their bones were left. Almost all the abyssal demons were dead. Not a single abyssal demon could survive under such sword aura. Too sharp. Xiaoping exclaimed. Previously he had only tried out the power of the golden slime. He had not used his full strength. Now, in order to deal with this undying demon, he used a little more strength. He had not expected it to be this powerful. Just a single sword attack had sliced the undying demon in half, and it was on the verge of death. Such power was simply unbelievable. Chapter 2169. Walalad Xiaoping waved his hand and collected all the demon flesh on the ground. He placed them next to World Tree and let it absorb them. These demon flesh seemed to be very beneficial to World Tree's growth. Although it couldn't be compared to Undying Demon, it was still a low-level fertilizer. Who are you? At this moment the demon looked at Xiaoping in fear. It felt unprecedentedly weak. After its Yuan spirit was split open by that sword, it had an injury that couldn't be healed. One must know that it was an undying demon and its injuries couldn't be healed. How terrifying was that? If it didn't experience it personally, it wouldn't dare to believe it. It immediately suspected Xiaoping's identity. It didn't know where he came from. He wasn't even an undying saint, but he was able to cripple it. This was unbelievable. You don't need to know who I am. What's the deal with the Abyss Alliance? Can you tell me? I'm very interested in this. Xiaoping looked down from above. His aura completely locked onto the demon. This demon was completely under his control. It couldn't escape at all. A tyrannical force came crashing down with his body as the center, creating a terrifying aura. Even if the immortal demon made a move, he would be able to see it clearly. Scram, this is my abyss secret. It can't be leaked. Just give up. The demon sneered. It was very stubborn. This was top secret information in the abyss, and it would definitely not be known by others. Otherwise, it would definitely cause a great disaster. Oh, I see. Then I'm even more interested. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. Dong. Without waiting for the demon to speak, countless roots of the world tree sprouted from Xiaoping's body and pierced into the demon's body. Bastard, damn it, human, what did you do to me? The demon screamed in fear. It felt fatal danger. It was as if the roots were a great threat to it. It was like it had met its natural enemy. But before it could resist, these roots had completely penetrated its body and even its soul. Its entire body was tied up and it was almost unable to move. In the next second, even its soul lost consciousness. It was completely occupied by the will of the world tree, as if it had become a puppet of the world tree. It did not even have the ability to commit suicide. Tell me, what is this so-called Abyss Covenant? Xiaoping asked. This is the agreement between our Abyss world and the Illusion race. Our Abyss world will grant the Illusion race great power and provide them with countless cultivation resources. In return, the Illusion race must become a vassal race of the Abyss demons and prepare to invade the universe in the future. The Black Undying Demon replied like a machine. The Illusion tribe has become the dogs of the Abyssal demons. They want to lead the way. What is going on? Xiaoping squinted his eyes, revealing a deep murderous aura. These sages of the Illusion race clearly knew that the Abyss demons were the mortal enemies of all the races in the universe. But the Illusion race still dared to sign a contract with the Abyss demons and become traitors. If the other races found out about this, the Illusion race would die without a doubt. Because this had violated the taboo of all the races in the universe. It was unforgivable. No one would forgive a traitor. At the start, the Illusion race did not agree. But a peak demon of my race personally corrupted one of the Illusion race old ancestors, making it completely degenerate into an Abyss demon. They had no choice but to agree. If not for the fear of being discovered by the other races, the entire race would have been corrupted by us. The Black Undying Demon said proudly. This was a shocking plan that spanned across the immemorial era. It corrupted a powerful race and made them a member of the Abyss. If the time came, the entire illusion race would become an Abyss race and add a great combat power to the Abyss world. Until now, most of the sages of the illusion race had become members of the Abyss. Only a few newly advanced illusion race sages had not been assimilated. But when the time came, it was only a matter of time. Hearing this, Xiaoping's eyes flashed coldly. If the Abyss demons really started a war and the entire illusion race betrayed them, all the races in the universe would suffer heavy losses. Especially the special ability of the illusion race. They could transform into other races. If they were used by the Abyss demons, the damage would be unimaginable. At that time, everyone would be in danger and would not know who was on their side. It could be said that this race was a double-edged sword. If they could not control it, they would definitely hurt themselves. This is no small matter. Looks like I have to let the upper echelons of the human race know about this and completely eradicate this scourge. Otherwise, it will definitely lead to a disaster in the future. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and thought of a series of plans. But for now, probably only the sages and ancestors of the illusion race would be corrupted by the Abyss. Those young disciples did not know about this and did not have the qualifications to be corrupted by the Abyss. This was a silver lining in the misfortune. Right, does that Minerva know about this? Xiaoping suddenly thought of that ancient sage Minerva. To be honest, from the moment they met, he indeed felt a wave of malice and discomfort from her. Previously, he thought that it might be because of her hostility that made him involuntarily resist. But now, it seemed that perhaps it was because of the Abyss aura on her that made him feel hostility. It was only because Minerva had concealed her aura too perfectly that he could not detect it at first. However, this was only a guess. Whether it was true or not, he still had to investigate carefully. Since I've come to this Abyss world, I can't leave empty-handed. I wonder how many immortal demons there are in this Abyss continent. Perhaps I can kill a few and capture them as fertilizer. Xiaoping touched his chin. He could not return to the illusion world immediately because the trial was not over yet. It would still take 10 days. If he returned so soon, Minerva would definitely suspect him. Therefore, he still needed to stay in this Abyss world for about 10 days. Whoosh. Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately flew into the depths of the Abyss continent. He could sense that there were still many powerful abyssal demons in the abyss of this continent. If he could kill some of them, it would definitely be of great benefit to his cultivation. He was now filled with a sense of urgency. Perhaps it was time to advance to the sempiternal realm. Only by becoming a true sage could he have the invincible power to control everything. If he did not become a sage, he would still be an ant. Chapter 2170. One day later. In the depths of the Abyss continent. On a plain there was a vast and boundless city built here. The city walls stood tall, and the style was simple and unadorned. They seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of time, as if they hadn't changed at all after millions of years. In the depths of the city lived all kinds of abyssal demons. They were densely distributed around the city. It was like a human country with its own laws and rules. This was simply an inconceivable thing. Because the Abyss world was originally an extremely chaotic place. Like a primitive world, it was filled with barbarism and slaughter. There was only destruction, never construction. But after experiencing the defeat in the immemorial era, many abyssal demons learned from the painful experience and decided to learn all kinds of knowledge from the human race and the other races. They learned the system, learned the discipline, learned the army, learned the creation of weapons, and so on. They almost imitated the other races to build their own cities. However, this situation only appeared in some relatively powerful demonic continents. Only powerful forces could suppress all the abyssal demons and rule everything, not allowing any demons to resist. Whoosh. At this moment, Xiaoping silently approached the city. He couldn't help but exclaim when he saw this city. Although it looked very crude, its defense was extremely strong. The city walls were extremely thick and hard. Probably even dozens of battleships firing Star Destroyer cannons might not be able to penetrate these powerful city walls made of special materials. But he could also see that this abyss continent wasn't ordinary. There was definitely a powerful abyssal demon that completely unified this continent and forcefully made all kinds of rules. Only then did these powerful abyssal demons obediently stay together and not kill each other. He could sense that there were countless abyssal demons living around this city. Each of them was powerful, definitely the elites among elites. There were more than 10 billion of them. There are indeed immortal demons here. Suddenly, Xiaoping sensed that there was an ancient castle in the depths of this city. There was a powerful abyssal demon aura coming from that place, distorting the void. No ordinary demons dared to approach within several thousand kilometers. It was regarded as a forbidden zone. Xiaoping didn't hesitate. He used Formless Mask to conceal his aura and silently entered the depths of this ancient castle. No abyssal demons discovered him. In the castle hall, a total of 8 immortal-level abyssal demons appeared. They sat on huge stone chairs and seemed to be holding a meeting. Damn it, what's going on? Why did Logan's aura suddenly disappear from the Abyss continent? Who attacked him? A purple-horned Undying Realm fiend roared. His body surged with rage, distorting space and causing cracks to appear on the ground. Hearing this, Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. This Logan was most likely the black undying demon that he had captured and used as fertilizer for the World Tree. Now that a day had passed, the group of immortal fiendish demons probably knew about this matter. After all, even in the Abyss world, immortal fiendish demons were extremely powerful. Losing one was an extremely heavy loss that could not be ignored. Was it done by those bitches from the Illusion clan? Only they have the strength and motivation to do so. I heard that those bastards are actually trying to break free from the shackles of the will of the Abyss, and they've secretly played many tricks. A goat-horned undying demonic demon's eyes flashed with a cold light. Because it wasn't just the undying realm fiendish demon that disappeared this time, there was also an army of hundreds of millions of fiendish demons. However, they had all disappeared, not even their corpses were left. Without a doubt, Logan and the others must have been attacked by sages. Otherwise, they wouldn't have disappeared completely without leaving any traces. Trying to break free from the shackles of the will of the Abyss? That's wishful thinking. Even the sages of the immemorial era can't do this. What can those trash do? That's right. They've signed an agreement with the Abyss continent and still want to violate it. Dream on. Even so, these little tricks might affect the layout of our Abyss world. It might cause big trouble. We can't let those trash from the Illusion clan continue. We must teach them a lesson. We're still their boss. I knew those Illusion clan people are ingrates. We shouldn't have trusted them. We should have killed them all back then. Just leaving some trash would have been enough. Now that they can't do anything, they even want to bite back at their master. How preposterous. Don't worry, the Illusion clan people want to become masters. Who doesn't know their ambition? In the Abyss world, strength reigns supreme. It's normal to have some ambition. However, they've signed an agreement with the Abyss continent and obtained its power. If they still try to resist, they're traitors. We must teach them a lesson. The many undying fiendish demons sneered. They also knew the Illusion clan's ambition. Ever since they were eroded by the Abyss, they acted respectfully on the surface and cooperated with the Abyss. However, these sages often played tricks behind their backs, constantly trying to break free from the Abyss continent. After all, the Illusion sages were proud and didn't want to become the lackeys of other races. Even so, everything was under the control of the Abyss continent. It was like a dog with a collar tied around its neck. No matter how fierce the dog was, it couldn't break free from the collar and could only obediently accept its fate. They were well aware of this and were secretly watching a joke. Watching this group of illusory race sages act like clowns was also a rare source of entertainment. However, the Illusion sages dared to kill the undying fiendish demon Logan and possibly annihilate a demon army. This violated the bottom line and taboo of the Abyss demons. Because no matter how fierce a dog was, it shouldn't bite its master. If it did, it wouldn't be a good dog. It needed to be taught a lesson. But we don't have any proof that the Illusion sages did this? An undying fiendish demon said. It doesn't matter. We need no proof. Just say it is. That's right. What explanation do we need? How about this? The day of our Abyss world's counterattack is near. Why don't we completely erode the Illusion clan and turn them into the Abyss? They won't be able to escape then. Indeed. Use this chance to capture the Illusion clan in one fell swoop. This way they won't be able to be traitors. The undying fiendish demon's eyes flashed with murderous intent. Because of Logan's disappearance, they completely lost their patience with the Illusion clan. They wanted to directly attack and control them. At this point, they didn't need to hide anything. Chapter 2171. At this moment, in a dark corner of the castle, Xiaoping used the power of the Formless Mask to conceal his aura. He hid nearby and quietly listened to the immortal fiendish demons meeting. No immortal fiendish demon could detect Xiaoping's presence. They want to corrupt the entire Illusion race? Absolutely not. Otherwise they will be a great help to the abyssal world. We must stop these immortal fiendish demons. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes with a cold glint. Although he was alone and couldn't contend against the entire abyssal world, it was still a piece of cake for him to deal with these immortal fiendish demons and delay them. Moreover, if he could kill these 8 immortal fiendish demons and refine them into immortal fruits, he would be able to reach Lightning Tribulation Realm Pinnacle immediately. It would save him a lot of cultivation time. At this moment he didn't want to continue developing. He wanted to reach Sempiternal Realm first. As long as he grew stronger, capturing as many immortal fiendish demons as possible would be a piece of cake. Alright, I will report the contents of the meeting to the general and let him know of our decision. We cannot delay the matter of corrupting the illusion race. I believe the general will agree with us and take action immediately. At this moment, the purple-horned immortal fiendish demon stood up and announced the end of the meeting. He did not hesitate at all. Then I'll leave it to you. The other 7 immortal fiendish demons nodded. They also agreed to this arrangement. Chance? Xia Ping's eyes flashed with a cold glint. He could sense that this was the moment when the 8 immortal fiendish demons were the most relaxed. They probably didn't expect to be ambushed in their own castle. His ambush this time would definitely catch the 8 immortal fiendish demons off guard. Kill? In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping took out the golden slimes that had transformed into a huge golden sword. A figure emerged from the void and slashed at the 8 undying fiendish demons. Golden slime mystic art, unstoppable. Swoosh. A beam of golden sword light slammed down from the sky, containing boundless killing intent and terrifying sharpness. It completely tore the castle and the world into 2. Not good. The purple-horned undying demon's hair stood on end. Every cell in his body felt a fatal killing intent, because this sword was aimed at him. It was completely dumbfounded. It had never imagined that there would be an enemy assassinating it in this castle, the headquarters of the Abyss Demons. This was something that had never happened in millions of years, and it had no experience. For a moment, it was completely dumbfounded. Its mind was blank and it didn't know how to react. Dong. The sword cleaved the purple-horned fiendish demon in half. Even his essence soul was completely torn apart by the sword light. With a spluttering sound, the blood on its body spurted out like a fountain. In a loud thud, the 2 have smashed onto the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. Their eyes widened in horror, unwillingness, fear, and disbelief. It was as if it couldn't believe that it had died just like that. It was killed on the spot with a single strike. It couldn't even react. It couldn't be blamed. The sword was just too fast. With a flash of cold light, its body was cut in half. This was an earth-shattering sword that surpassed the imagination of all the undying demons. Bastard, you dare kill Lord Dylan. You're courting death, do you understand? Seeing the purple-horned immortal fiendish demon die in one strike, the other 7 immortal fiendish demons finally reacted. They roared and stared at Lin Yun with their eyes wide open. They were extremely furious. No one had ever dared to barge into the abyssal demon's castle. No one had even been able to assassinate them in this place. Now, someone actually appeared and killed the undying demon Dylan in front of them. This was a slap to their faces. This was an unprecedented humiliation. Die, abstrusine demon claw! Roared an undying demon. It clawed at Xia Ping. Endless abstrusine demon chi gathered in the depths of the void. At the same time, dense demonic runes appeared. A huge black claw appeared, containing terrifying sharpness. It was like an ancient demonic bird from the abyssal world. This claw tore the world apart. At the same time, it contained terrifying abyssal demon chi that corroded the space, causing the world to shake. Blood sea torrent. Another blood-colored undying demon attacked. A sea of blood filled the sky. Countless amounts of blood spread out from the depths of the void as if it had a mind of its own. Every drop of blood represented a vengeful spirit or evil ghost. Countless drops of blood formed a long river of blood that filled the sky. Anyone who fell into it would immediately be corroded and become one of the vengeful spirits in the blood sea. The sea of blood even contained a soul attack. It was like billions of evil ghosts lunging over. Even immortal fiendish demons with slightly weaker souls would be completely devoured. Great void demon flame. Another crimson undying demon opened its mouth and spat out a ball of fire. This was a terrifying flame from the abyssal world. It could burn the void and corrode souls. Once upon a time, it could destroy half of the abyssal continent with a single breath and burn countless abyssal demons to death. Just a drop of it could kill all living beings on a planet and turn them to ashes. Instantly, the sea of fire that filled the sky rushed over, burning the heaven and earth. Woo woo woo, ghosts wailed, wolves howled, and gods and devils cried. Apart from this, the other 4 undying demons also attacked at the same time. They used their best abilities and attacked from all directions. They didn't give Xia Ping any time to escape. The 7 undying demons' attacks were simply earth-shattering. They could destroy everything within 1,000,000,000 kilometers. Destructive ripples spread out from time to time. The entire castle was destroyed in an instant, and all the building materials were completely destroyed, leaving not a single drop behind. Even the soldiers of the fiend demon race that were stationed near the castle could not withstand the waves of Dharma power. Within a breath's time, they were all shocked to death and turned into dust, leaving nothing behind. All the abyssal demons in this boundless city looked towards the castle. They could clearly feel the wrath of the 7 undying demons. It was like the end of the world had arrived. Some of the weaker ones prostrated on the ground in fear, not daring to move. Good. Xia Ping was expressionless. He wielded the golden greatsword and had the body of earth. He had endless energy. He didn't fear anything. These undying demons were nothing to him. In an instant he attacked again. Chapter 2172. God Art, Earthquake. In an instant, Xia Ping immediately activated the supreme divine ability of the golden greatsword in his hand. Rumbled with his body as the center, a terrifying earthquake occurred in a radius of billions of kilometers. It was like the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. The entire land and space was shaking. In an instant, all the buildings in the city of demons collapsed, and terrifying cracks appeared on the ground, extending for more than 1,000,000,000 kilometers. Even the surrounding spatial barriers were densely packed with cracks, as if they were made of glass. This power even caused space to shatter and shatter. Layers of spatial tremors came from the depths of the golden sword. It seemed to have triggered the laws of vibration, creating billions of tremors that contained boundless destructive power. Dong dong dong. In just an instant, the attacks of the 7 immortal fiendish demons, be it Mystic Een Demon Claw, Sky Torrential Blood Sea, Great Void Demon Fire, or other god arts, were all turned into a ball of energy and completely destroyed. Impossible. The 7 immortal fiendish demons were dumbfounded. They didn't expect the attacker to be this terrifying. Just one sword strike was enough to destroy all of their power, leaving nothing behind. This was simply unimaginable. It was simply unimaginable. Kill? Xia Ping was unforgiving. How could he miss such a great opportunity? He slashed over again. Suddenly, a golden sword light swept over. It was like this was the only light left in the world, as if it was the only light in the world of darkness. All the abyssal demons in fiendish demon city could see this golden light sweeping out from the depths of the castle. Everything in its path, no matter what it was cut in half. Bang bang bang. In the next second, the heads of the 7 immortal fiendish demons were cut off at the same time. Blood sprayed out from their necks, almost dyeing the ground red. The blood even contained terrifying corrosive properties. It made sizzling sounds and corroded the ground. Large amounts of smoke rose from the ground. Moreover, this sword didn't just cut off their heads. It also tore their souls in half. The vitality of their immortal bodies was completely extinguished. Countless cells died at the same time. Their eyes were wide open, showing fear, panic, bewilderment, and disbelief, as if they couldn't believe they died just like that. After all, they were terrifying fiendish demons with immortal bodies. They had lived for billions of years. Yet they were killed in just one sword attack. No one would believe this. They would only treat it as a joke. Success. Xia Ping was very excited. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly. The 8 immortal fiendish demons didn't have much chance to retaliate. Firstly, it was all thanks to the power of the golden slime. Its various sacred abilities were unparalleled. Even immortal rank demons could not withstand the power of the golden swords. Secondly, his timing was too good. He killed the strongest immortal fiendish demons with his first attack. The other 7 immortal fiendish lords couldn't react in time. How could the 8 immortal fiendish demons resist? They were all killed. Very good. With the corpses of these 8 immortal fiendish demons, I can refine them into immortal fruits. It will definitely raise my magic power and divine sense to the peak. It will save me countless years of cultivation. Xia Ping clenched his fist. He felt that he had struck it rich this time. Bastard, you dare to kill my subordinates? You're courting death. Suddenly, a furious roar came from the depths of the void. It shook the void for billions of kilometers. Countless energies exploded, causing the souls of countless fiendish demons to crack. A terrifying aura spread out from the depths of countless dimensions, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 earths. What? Xia Ping's hair stood up. Every cell in his body was warning him. An intense sense of danger spread throughout his body. It was as if he was being targeted by a peerless beast. Near ancient sage. The one who spoke was an existence that far surpassed immortal sage. His strength had reached the near ancient sage level. Such strength was more than 100 times stronger than immortal sage. In the blink of an eye, a huge black hand tore through countless layers of origin space and slammed towards Xia Ping from an unknown distance. Abyss sacred art, heaven-shrouding demon hand. This dark demonic hand was truly connected to the heavens and the earth. Its fingers were tens of thousands of kilometers long and were filled with demonic chi. They contained countless abyssal demon runes, and it was as if there were billions of demons wailing and howling. This gigantic hand slapped out from the depths of void space, encompassing an area of millions and millions of kilometers. It was as if the entire world was covered by this gigantic hand. All the light, all the stars, and the surrounding void space all disappeared, as if it had been sealed up. All the fiendish demons only saw a hand made of abyss demonic energy reaching out from the depths of the void. The strands of demonic energy that leaked out from this hand had condensed into a physical form. They came from all directions and each strand of demonic energy seemed to weigh more than 100 tons. Billions of strands of demonic energy pressed down, forming a small world that crushed towards Xia Ping's body. The entire void was about to collapse from the pressure. The so-called immortal fiendish demons were simply a joke in front of this palm. The difference was incalculable. Too strong. Only now did Xia Ping truly feel how terrifying a near-ancient saint was. This was a furious attack from a near-ancient saint. This was the strongest enemy he had ever encountered. Before, he thought that near-ancient saints were only existences that comprehended space laws. Even if they were stronger than immortal saints, they weren't that much stronger. Perhaps he could deal with them. But now it seemed that he had underestimated them. Near-ancient saints who comprehended space laws could not only use space power to the acme of perfection, but they could also use the power of the void to unleash power that was thousands of times stronger. A single strike was like countless spaces crushing down on them. If a world descended, it would be reduced to dust in an instant. Sacred art, infinite void 3,000 clones. Xia Ping didn't hesitate and immediately split into 3,000 clones that merged into the void and escaped in all directions. Then he grabbed and placed the 8 immortal fiendish demons' corpses into the mountain river pearl space. At the same time he used Kunpeng steps and turned into a giant Kunpeng. He silently entered the depths of the void and instantly moved billions of kilometers away. At this time the demonic hand that covered the sky came crashing down, slapping the place where Xia Pingyuan was standing. Boom. Everything within billions of kilometers was flattened. The city of fiendish demons was immediately turned to dust. All the fiendish demons were killed and turned to dust in an instant. A giant palm print appeared on the ground. It was filled with dense and terrifying runes. It seemed like there were terrifying imprints even in the depths of the void. Chapter 2173. Whoosh. At this moment, a figure walked out from the depths of the void. Its entire body was wrapped in demonic energy, distorting the void and corroding the space within thousands of kilometers. The demonic energy was dense, making it impossible to see its true appearance. Although it looked like it was standing in the air, it was actually hiding in the depths of countless dimensions. Ordinary sages couldn't find its true body. Damn, where did that human ant go? Did he get slapped to death or did he run away? The terrifying ancient fiend said in a muffled voice. He was filled with rage. Seeing his 9 undying fiends being killed by a human, this was an unprecedented humiliation. After learning about this, it came to use its supreme demon god art, heaven-shrouding demon hand. It tried to slap the human to death across countless dimensions. But when it arrived here it didn't find that damn human. It didn't know if he had been slapped to death or had escaped. Because it couldn't sense any human's aura within billions of kilometers. It was as if the enemy had disappeared right in front of its eyes. It was unbelievable. But as an ancient demon, it could clearly sense that the human hadn't been killed by it. Instead, the human had escaped into the void at the critical moment. That guy even had a special method to hide his aura and avoid its pursuit. You're lucky. I've remembered your aura. Don't let me find you or you'll die for sure. The demon roared in anger and murderous intent. It was unwilling to give up and immediately searched the entire abyss continent, searching every corner. But it still couldn't find any trace of the enemy. It was as if the enemy had disappeared into thin air. The illusion disciples who entered the Abyss continent to train were pale and trembling. They felt the terrifying consciousness scanning everywhere, almost causing them to collapse. Fortunately, the ancient demons still remembered the agreement with the illusion race and didn't attack these ants. Otherwise, with just one breath, the illusion race's disciples would have been turned into ashes. A few days later, the demon gave up on searching for the killer. It didn't have that much time to stay here, so it could only give up. At this time, in a remote valley somewhere in the Abyss continent, Xia Ping cast the 3,000 Great Void and Infinity clones, coupled with the Kuan-Ping steps and other speed magical abilities, and the formless mask to help conceal his aura. He turned into a stone on the side of the road. Only then did he manage to hide from the search of that ancient demon. There were a few times when he was almost discovered by the ancient demon. Fortunately, the formless mask was very powerful, and the ancient demon did not discover him when he turned into a rock. Otherwise he would really be dead. Pooh! Xia Ping couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His heart was still pounding with fear. Fortunately, he reacted quickly. When the ancient demon attacked, he decisively fled. That was how he managed to avoid most of the damage. But even so, his body was still swept by the aftermath, and he was instantly seriously injured. The terrifying power of space invaded his internal organs, destroying every cell in his body. Even though he had the blood rebirth bloodline ability, it would still take him a long time to recover. If he was hit head-on, even if he didn't die, he would at least lose half his life. The ancient sages are still too strong. I have to break through to the sempiternal realm to stand a chance against them. Xia Ping was now very clear about his own strength, and the huge gap between him and the ancient sages. Fortunately, he did not come out empty-handed this time. He obtained the corpses of 8 immortal fiendish demons. After the world tree devoured and refined them, 8 immortal fruits were born. The 8 immortal fruits were very mystical. They were the size of a fist, and they were covered in dense golden patterns. There were thousands of runes coiling around them, and every rune contained a mysterious magical power. The flesh of the fruits contained the life essence of an immortal fiendish demon. After being cleansed by the world tree, all impurities were removed, and only the purest essence was left. An immortal fruit like this was equivalent to the magic power of a lightning tribulation realm expert after billions of years. This time, I must reach the peak of the lightning tribulation realm. I might even have a chance to break through to the sempiternal realm. Xia Ping swallowed the 8 immortal fruits in one go. Walala, the 8 immortal fruits represented the life essence of 8 immortal fiendish demons. There was no waste at all. They immediately entered Xia Ping's stomach and were digested. Immediately, he felt a huge amount of energy surging out from the depths of his body. It surged into his limbs like a tidal wave, then into his sea of consciousness and into his 9 purple mansions. The heavy injuries from the ancient fiendish demons were also recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. In an instant, he had recovered to his peak condition. At the same time, his body and Yuan Shen immediately swelled up. His magic power skyrocketed and rose. The 9 purple mansions, which were originally in a state of emptiness, immediately swelled up after being nourished by the 8 immortal fruits. They quickly filled up. Every corner of the 9 purple mansions was filled with majestic energy. Peak of the lightning tribulation realm. Xia Ping immediately sensed that his Yuan Shen and his magic power had reached the peak. It was almost at the point of no improvement. His 9 purple mansions were filled with majestic energy. His Yuan Shen also rose to the extreme. It felt like his Yuan Shen and his body had completely merged. If he could completely merge his Yuan Shen and every cell in his body, he would transform into a true spirit. Then he would truly obtain an immortal body and advance to the sage realm. Boom! In an instant, Xia Ping's soul also entered the depths of the sea of bitterness. His soul expanded several times and he was like a giant crossing the sea of bitterness. Instantly, countless seawater from the sea of bitterness slapped against his giant body. Huge waves surged around him. From time to time, lightning flashed and thunder roared. Storms raged. Every drop of seawater was pulling his body, trying to make him sink into the sea of bitterness. Get lost! Xia Ping roared in anger. Thunder rumbled and a terrifying aura was generated. He punched out again and pierced through the sea of bitterness. All the dark clouds in the sky dispersed. He relied on brute force to advance step by step. No matter how strong the wind or the waves were, they could not stop him at all. After an unknown period of time, he finally neared the shore of the sea of bitterness. Yeah. Xiaoping's heart jumped. He wanted to use this chance to cross the sea of bitterness and jump out of the river of fate to become immortal. But when he reached the shore, an invisible barrier appeared in front of him. It stopped him from moving forward and prevented him from jumping out of the sea of bitterness. He was just a little bit away from condensing his true spirit and advancing to the immortal realm. I need one more lightning trial. Xiaoping immediately understood why he was a little bit lacking. His body and primordial spirit were too powerful. He needed a lightning tribulation and a powerful external force to fuse his primordial spirit with his body, allowing his soul to transform into a true spirit. The lightning trial was a crisis, but it was also an opportunity to help him advance to the immortal realm. Soon the lightning trial is coming too. Xiaoping felt that deep in the void, the terrifying lightning trial was brewing. Once it was done, he would dodge it and immediately become immortal, condensing his true spirit. Chapter 2174. A few days later. In a plaza in the Fantasy Quest Hall, there was a teleportation array connected to the abyss. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, many figures appeared from the teleportation array. They were illusion warriors who had completed their training and returned from the abyss. They looked excited as if they had just survived a disaster. We're back. We're finally back alive. Isn't that right? I dare say that this trial was the most dangerous trial in history. Yeah. Who would have thought that we would run into ancient demons? We were almost killed by them. Yeah. We were so close. If we were noticed by the ancient demons, we would have been dead. Everyone was overjoyed. They felt that their luck was too good. They were so close to being completely annihilated. None of them would have made it back alive. That's strange. Where are Jacob and the other examiners? Where did they go? Why haven't they returned? Someone noticed that Jacob and the other elders were nowhere to be seen. Yeah. Where did Chris and the others go? With their strength, they shouldn't have failed the trial. Where are they now? Someone noticed that Chris and the others hadn't returned. They thought it was strange. Out of all the participants, Chris and the others were relatively strong. Everyone else had passed the trial, so there was no way Chris and the others hadn't. Yeah. Before we left, I saw Chris and the others surrounding Barty. They looked like they wanted to kill him. Did Barty kill them? Impossible. No matter how strong Barty is, he can't kill Chris and the others. Not to mention Jacob and the other elders were with him. Even if Barty ascended to heaven, there's nothing he could do. But now that Elder Jacob hasn't returned, I'm afraid the odds are against him. And Barty might be dead too. If he's dead, then he's dead. What does that have to do with us? We've completed the mission anyway. Everyone discussed this matter spiritedly, feeling extremely confused. Chris and the others, as well as Jacob and the other elders, still hadn't returned alive. This was simply a fantasy story. Some people even guessed that Jacob and the others had been killed by Barty, but everyone shook their heads, thinking that it was impossible. It was like a white rabbit killing a dozen tigers. No matter how they looked at it, it was ridiculous. No one believed that Barty could kill Jacob and the others. Boom, at that moment, the teleportation array lit up again and a figure appeared on the square. Buddy, isn't that Buddy? He's not dead yet? Quite a few people immediately cried out in alarm. When they saw Barty appear, they all looked as if they had seen a ghost, and their faces were filled with disbelief. They had all seen Barty's fate. He had been surrounded by Jacob and the other elders. No matter how they looked at it, he was doomed to die. Now he had actually come back alive. It was simply unbelievable. If it weren't for the fact that Barty's body was emitting the aura of a living person, they would have thought that they were seeing a ghost. At that moment, Xiaoping had finally stayed in the Abyss continent for 10 days, so he chose to return to the illusion world. For the past few days, he had been consolidating his cultivation, familiarizing himself with his skyrocketing magic power, divine sense, and other powers, quietly waiting for the arrival of the thunder calamity. And this time, his control over his power had become even more perfect. It was smooth and formless, not a single trace of aura leaked out. It was perfect and flawless. Barty. At that moment, 3 mission hall elders flew over from afar. Impressively, they had all reached the peak of the thunder calamity realm. Murderous intent filled their bodies as they descended on the square in an instant. Why did you come back alone? Where are Elder Jacob and the others? Where did they go? One of the mission hall elders immediately questioned, glaring fiercely at Xiaoping. He was someone who knew the details, so naturally he knew the plan of Jacob and the others. Their goal was to kill Barty. But now Barty was not dead. Instead, Jacob and the others were missing. No matter how he thought about it, it was strange. How would I know? Elder Jacob is a Thunder Calamity Realm expert. How would I dare to ask about his whereabouts? But since he hasn't returned yet, he's probably dead. Xia Ping said lazily. Dead my ass. Another black-clothed elder shouted angrily. Jacob and the others have 3 Thunder Calamity Realm experts. Their strength is tyrannical. Even if you die 8 or 10 times they won't die. Tell me, did you murder them? Did you cause them to meet with misfortune? He couldn't restrain his anger. He was treating Xia Ping as a murderer. Elder, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. You say that I murdered them. May I ask if you have any proof? Xia Ping looked at the black-clothed elder calmly. This? The black-clothed elder was momentarily speechless. He didn't know what to say. He couldn't say that Jacob and the others had entered this trial with the goal of murdering Barty, could he? If he said this, he would immediately be investigated by the Council of Elders and sentenced to death on the spot. After all, this was a violation of the clan's rule of no infighting. Even a saint would be severely punished. This kind of thing couldn't be said. Otherwise it would cause a huge uproar. When the time came, he would be treated as a scapegoat. Don't speak carelessly if you don't have proof. Spreading rumors is a felony. Moreover, you said that they can't die just because they're strong. Who made such a rule? This is the Abyss continent. There are even immortal demons. Maybe they were unlucky enough to meet an immortal demon and ended up being eaten. After all, in this world, you can choke to death when you're unlucky. Xia Ping said indifferently. Met an immortal demon? That's indeed a possibility. When I was in the trial, I saw an immortal demon flying through the sky. Its monstrous demonic aura almost killed me. Hearing this, someone from the Illusion tribe immediately cried out and recounted his experience. Indeed, I also met an immortal demon. It was truly monstrous. Earlier, it seemed to have exploded in anger and swept through the entire Abyss continent. I don't know what it was searching for. Now that you mention it, I also remember. It's very likely that Jacob and the others did something that angered the immortal demon and were killed on the spot. So that's how it is. If that's the case, Jacob and the others probably touched the immortal demon's bad luck and were killed on the spot. How unlucky. If that's the case, then Jacob and the others were really unlucky. Everyone discussed. They were very sympathetic and pitied Jacob and the others. They were so unlucky to meet an immortal demon and be killed on the spot. No matter what cultivation level one had, meeting an immortal demon was a dead end. In fact, this was the only reason that could explain why Jacob and the others died. After all, with Barty's cultivation and strength, he couldn't have posed any threat to Jacob and the others. Chapter 2175. Upon hearing this, the 3 elders of the Hall of Mission subconsciously believed everyone's words. If an ancient demon had really appeared in the Abyss continent, and Jacob and the others happened to encounter it, then Jacob and the others' deaths would not be in vain. In fact, they did not believe that Barty could kill Jacob and the others by himself. Barty must have used some kind of trick to kill Jacob and the others. Although they were very suspicious, they did not have any evidence. After all, they did not go to the Abyss continent, and there were no witnesses or material evidence around to prove it. Elders, if you still do not believe me, why don't you report this to the group of elders and have them send someone down to investigate this matter thoroughly and see if there is anything fishy about it? Xia Ping made his own suggestion. If it really was my fault, then I will take full responsibility for this matter. However, if there were any other factors involved or if there were some people who had interfered, I believe that the Council of Elders would not let go of those who tried to harm Elder Jacob and the others. They would catch all of them and kill them all to ensure fairness. He smiled and looked at the 3 elders of the mission hall with a threatening look in his eyes. Then there is no need to make such a big deal out of it. Hearing this, the elder in black felt his hair stand on end. He was sweating profusely, but he quickly laughed it off. What a joke. If this matter was handed over to the group of elders, they would definitely reveal all of their plans. When that happened, it would cause a huge uproar, and who knew how many people would die. First of all, as a near-ancient saint, the mastermind behind Minerva would not be harmed. The only ones who would be harmed would be the small fries who were caught to take the blame. It could be said that this matter could only be buried and not announced. Otherwise all of them would die. Yes. If an ancient demon appeared, then Jacob and the others did not die in vain. Indeed, this matter should not have much to do with Barty. Also, in terms of strength, there is no way Barty could have killed Jacob and the others. Sigh, Elder Jacob and the others were really unlucky to die at such a young age. What a pity. Isn't that right? However, life is unpredictable. Who knows what will happen? You might choke to death while eating. The words of the 3 mission hall elders immediately removed this matter from Xiaoping's shoulders. They did not plan to pursue this matter any further, lest they brought more trouble upon themselves. After all, even if they continued to pursue the matter, they would not gain anything from it. Instead, they might even report this matter to the elders. At that time they would probably be in deep trouble. Even if they used to be good friends with Jacob, in the face of disaster, even husband and wife would be separated. Not to mention that they were just swine friends and Jacob might even die. There was no need for them to bring trouble upon themselves because of a dead person. Now that Jacob and the others were dead, there shouldn't be many people who would pursue the matter. As long as they could shut this kid's mouth, everyone would be safe. As for Minerva's anger, it had nothing to do with them. Xiaoping did not say anything. He merely looked at the 3 elders of the mission hall with a faint smile. Suddenly, the black-clothed elder was extremely embarrassed. He was like a thief who had been caught. He was so arrogant just now, but now he was bowing to this extent. It was really embarrassing. However, he had no choice but to lower his head now. Ahem. How about this, Barty? You've done well in this trial mission and obtained an excellent result. Everyone can see that, so I'll appoint you as the team leader of the Treasury's guards. You'll be in charge of a team. Here, this is the team leader's token. Tomorrow you can go directly to the Treasury and take up your post. To shut Xiaoping's mouth, the black-clothed elder took the liberty of putting a team leader's token on Xiaoping, indicating that he was now an official and did not need to be a soldier anymore. When the other illusion people saw this, their intestines turned green with jealousy. They were all people who had just passed the trial, so why were they only able to be guards? That damn Barty, on the other hand, was able to soar to the sky and become a team leader. It did not make sense. However, when they saw the fierce look in the 3 elders' eyes, none of them dared to make a sound. If the elders made things difficult for them, they would not be able to bear the consequences. After that, the 3 elders left with their tails between their legs. They did not dare to stay in the same place. They were afraid that Barty would go crazy and drag them all down with him. They would all die together. At this time, Xiaoping did not care about the others. He left the square, planning to return to Lawrence City. However, just as he left the square, he bumped into Emma at the door. Barty, you're still alive? Love Ma looked at Xiaoping in shock. She had only come to this place because she had a sliver of hope that Barty was still alive. However, she also knew that it was impossible. After all, he had angered Minerva, a near-ancient saint, and ambushed by Jacob and the other elders. There was no way he could escape death. However, when she came to this place, she was shocked to find that Xiaoping was not dead. Even Jacob and the others had disappeared without a trace. They were probably dead. She couldn't believe her own eyes at this moment. Yes, I'm lucky I'm not dead. I'm lucky that the family head gave me a charm. Otherwise, I would have been ambushed by Jacob and the others and died. Xiaoping said. This? Emma did not know what to say. If the family head Sophia had not betrayed Barty, this would not have happened to him. He would not have needed a charm to take revenge. However, she could not say it out loud. Regardless, Barty came back alive. This was the silver lining in the misfortune. It's good that you're back. Don't leave the illusion casually for now. Just stay here and train. It's dangerous outside. Emma looked at Xiaoping seriously. She knew that Minerva was a vicious person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. If he could not kill Barty this time, he would definitely calculate the next time. He would not give up until Barty died. Thanks for the reminder. I understand. How about this? I still have something to do. I need to go back and rest. I won't accompany you for now, Xiaoping said to Emma. Okay. Emma understood how tired Barty was. After all, he had gone through a near-death experience. He definitely needed some time to rest. With a whoosh, Xiaoping left the place and returned to his home in Lawrence City. Emma looked at Xiaoping deeply, then turned around and went back to Lawrence Castle. She wanted to go back and report to the family head Sophia that Barty was still alive. Chapter 2176. Lawrence Castle. At this moment, Emma returned to the castle and reported to Sophia that Xiaoping was still alive. What did you just say? Hearing this, Sophia's eyes flashed coldly. Not only did that kid not hate me, he even said that he was very grateful that I gave him a charm, which allowed him to live? Yes. Emma nodded. Barty should be someone we can rope in. He is a person who knows how to repay favors. He doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes. Shut up. He just casually said a few words and you actually believed him? Sophia laughed coldly. With his intelligence, how could he not know that I had a part in this? It was also because of me that he was in such a desperate situation. Now he doesn't have any resentment or complaints. Instead, he smiles and says that he is very grateful to me. Do you think I, Sophia, will believe these words? This? Hearing this, Emma could not help but be stunned. Without a doubt, this kid is being sarcastic. Sophia's eyes flashed coldly. He knows that his strength is far from enough. Even if he is angry, he cannot take revenge. So, he endured this and pretended that nothing happened. People like this are very shrewd and know how to endure. It's fine if he is weak, but once he becomes strong enough, he will be a scourge. He is the most terrifying enemy. Waves of murderous intent surged from her body. Master, are you going to kill Barty as well? But he said that he is from the Lawrence family. Emma immediately felt the murderous intent from Sophia permeate the air. Kill him? Sophia immediately laughed. He is just an ant in the returning truth realm. What right does he have for me to kill him? No matter how scheming an ant is, he cannot be compared to a saint. He is far from that. And even if I don't do anything, he offended the ancient Saint Minerva. How long do you think he can live? I think he is very capable if he can live more than 3 months. He was lucky this time and accidentally met an ancient demon, which allowed him to live. But can he be so lucky a second time? Can he be a third time? She did not care about Barty's anger at all. It was not important to a saint. Instead, she treated this matter as a good show. She wanted to see how long this ant could live. Emma sighed when she heard these words. She could not change the saint's decision. She also felt that Barty's situation boded ill. After all, Barty's enemy was not only Minerva, but Sophia as well. This was especially so for Sophia, who prided herself as a wise person. She hated things that were out of her control. If Minerva could not kill Barty, who knew if Sophia would be able to endure it? However, she was just a small fry and could not shake the will of a saint. Elsewhere in the illusion realm, in an ancient castle of the Lenst family. The castle occupied an extremely large area of 3 million square kilometers, which was equivalent to the land area of a human country. It was enough to support hundreds of millions of people. Therefore, this castle was also incomparably majestic. Rows upon rows of buildings were arranged, and tyrannical restrictive formations were set up everywhere. Even a sage would not be able to force his way through this place. The defense was like an iron wall. This was the place where the ancient Saint Minerva lived. At this moment, some of the Lenst spies returned with serious expressions. They reported to Minerva that Xia Ping had safely returned to the illusion realm and had even taken the opportunity to be promoted to the position of captain of the treasury guards. After reporting this news, the Lenst clansmen were all terrified. This time they had ruined Minerva's plan. No one knew how many people would get on his bad side and die a violent death. Useless. Useless. All of you are useless. As expected, Minerva's face was filled with rage. I gave them a lot of help, even breaking the rules of the elders and helping them secretly. However, they could not kill that brat and even let him come back alive and kicking. They even promoted him to nobility. What the hell are they doing? They are useless. They should be glad that they are dead now. If they were still alive, I would let them know what it means to live a life worse than death, and what it means to be tortured. Berserk rage radiated from his body, causing the surrounding Lenst clansmen to tremble in fear. Their souls trembled and the entire castle rumbled. Sorry, Lord Patriarch. We are useless. The Lenst clansmen knelt on the ground in fear, not daring to raise their heads. Sorry? Do you think a simple apology can erase the failure of this matter? Minerva said angrily. 3 months. I'll only give you 3 months. Think of a way to make Barty disappear from my sight. I don't want to hear any news about him. If you can't do it, it won't be Barty who disappears. It will be you pieces of trash who will disappear from this universe. Do you understand? Endless killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. Yes, Lord Patriarch. None of the Lenst clansmen dared to refute. None of them could withstand the fury of a saint. At this moment they hated Xia Ping to the core. If it weren't for this bastard, they wouldn't have been treated like this and thrown into a crisis of life and death. What are you still doing here? Hurry up and scram. Minerva said coldly. Yes, Lord Patriarch. Hearing this, many of the Lenst clansmen felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Staying next to a furious saint was like staying with a tiger. Their lives were frozen in water. If they weren't careful, they would be killed by the saint's aura. Now that they had a chance to leave, they were all wild with joy. Of course, they didn't dare to show it. They all put on expressions of deep hatred and quickly left the palace. In just a few moments, Minerva was the only one left in the palace. "Umph, Barty, you little ant. I didn't expect your luck to be so good. You actually ran into a passing demon from the near ancient era. This kind of luck is heaven-defying." Minerva clenched his fists, his eyes flashing coldly. "But I want to see if your luck will be this good, and if you can avoid being hunted down again and again." At this point he fell into deep thought. But where did that near ancient era demon come from? Why did it suddenly appear in the Abyss continent? Is it some kind of conspiracy? Or could it be that the Abyss demons can't wait any longer and want to make a move on the illusory? Minerva's eyes flashed coldly. He felt that this was very unusual. The appearance of a near ancient era demon couldn't be that simple. This meant that a storm of blood had begun. Chapter 2177. One day later, Xia Ping went directly to the transfer station near the Hall of Missions. He took the teleportation formation and was immediately teleported to the treasury. The treasury of the illusion race was located in the deepest part of the illusion realm. It was a huge golden palace that covered an area of more than 30 million square kilometers. It was practically endless. This is the treasury of the illusion race? With a swoosh, Xia Ping was teleported to the door of the treasury. There were also people who had passed the test with him. There were more than 100 of them. He looked forward and immediately saw a majestic palace standing on the ground. It was so tall that it reached the clouds. It emitted an endless aura and majesty. It was extremely vast and majestic. The entire palace seemed to have been set up with densely packed restrictive formations that twisted the space around them. Countless restrictive formations had merged with the sky and the earth. If anyone dared to touch the restrictive formations of the treasury, they would immediately be struck by lightning. Vaguely, through the Golden Crow's hell eye, he could see that the entire treasury contained layers of space. Entering it was like entering a space maze, and there was no way to get out. Under Xia Ping's divine sense, he could even sense a powerful saint's aura in the depths of the treasury. Whoever dared to have any ideas about this treasury would most likely die. It could be said that this place was so well protected that not even a fly could get in. Finally, we're here. Previously, we just came to exchange for treasures. I didn't expect that we would have the opportunity to become guards. Isn't that right? Last time, when we came to exchange for treasures, we were ruthlessly extorted by the guards here. They said that if we didn't get any benefits, they would give us some trash. We had no choice but to be extorted. Damn, I had the same experience. This time, it's finally my turn to become a guard. If I don't extort more, I will have suffered for nothing this time. You're right. This is where we will rise and get rich. Many people of the illusion race discussed excitedly. Their eyes lit up. They felt that their good days had finally arrived. They didn't have to live frugally like before. Are you the new guards? At this time, an old man in a gray robe walked out of the treasury. He had the aura of a misfortune state expert. He seemed to be very old, and it was unknown how many tens of thousands of years he had lived. His grayish-white eyes were terrifying and terrifying. That's right, Elder Titan. When the crowd saw the gray-robed elder appear, they immediately felt deep veneration. This was because the other party was an elder who guarded this treasury. He had a high status and was extremely powerful. His status was second only to the saints. They already knew a thing or two about the people in the treasury. Very good. Follow me in. In the future, all of you will have to guard this treasury and strictly abide by the rules here. Otherwise, if you activate the restrictive array of the treasury, no one will be able to save you. Elder Taildon nodded and led the way. Seeing this, everyone followed Elder Titan into the treasury. Suddenly, the space around them changed. It was as if they had been directly teleported into a different space within the treasury. Clearly, the treasury's entrance and the treasury's interior were two different spaces. Even if someone broke the door of the treasury, they would not be able to enter the depths of the treasury. The treasury is divided into two halls. One is the outer hall and the other is the inner hall. Elder Titan explained as he walked, the treasures in the outer hall are mainly used to provide large amounts of pills, treasures, materials, secret techniques, and so on. These are all things that can help mortals increase their cultivation. However, the inner hall is different. Inside are the true treasures of our illusion tribe. There are treasures of the universe. There are saints guarding it so no one can get close. Your main job is to patrol the outer hall and look for criminals who are trying to break into the treasury to steal. At the same time, monitor the restrictive array for any abnormalities. You don't have to worry about anything else. You are not allowed to get close to the inner hall. Yes, Elder. Everyone nodded vigorously. They knew that these rules were very important to them. If they were even the slightest bit careless, they might immediately be chased out of the treasury or even executed. Inner hall. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He instinctively felt that this so-called inner hall was probably where he was supposed to go. Perhaps the sound vein stone was stored inside. As for the treasures in the outer hall, he did not care much about them. He could casually take out some treasures that were comparable to the treasures in the outer hall. Of course, if he had the chance, he did not mind stealing. No one would complain about having too many treasures. Remember, you must hold on to the token in your hands. This is the only thing that can prove your identity. If you lose it and wander around the treasury, you will die in vain. No one will save you. Elder Titan warned. Elder, where do we usually live? Where do we live? Someone asked. They are all in the outer hall. Elder Titan replied, the outer hall's treasury is divided into two parts. One is the treasury and the other is the guards' living quarters. There is a courtyard for you to live in and a public canteen. In the future you will eat, drink and poop there. Every week you will have 2 days off. You will take turns to guard the treasury. If there are holidays, you can take them off depending on the situation. Anyway, you don't have to worry too much. This is a leisurely job. For millions of years, no one has attacked the treasury. It is very safe. Many people from the illusion race laughed. They were very relaxed. That was indeed the case. First of all, the illusion race would not attack. After all, they knew how terrifying the treasury was. Anyone who dared to enter such a forbidden area would die without a doubt. Secondly, it was impossible for outsiders to know where the illusion race's nest was. Even if they wanted to attack, they would not be able to find the location. In this way, the treasury was very safe. For many years, no one had dared to attack it. It was also because of this that being a guard in this place was simply a cushy job. There was money, free time, holidays, and a stipend. There was no better job than this. Countless people would break their heads trying to get in. You have a month to familiarize yourself with the surroundings of the treasury. After a month you will start working. So cherish this leisure time. Not long after, Elder Titan brought everyone to the living area of the outer palace. This place had many luxurious courtyards built. Everyone had their own independent courtyard to live in, and they would not be disturbed by others. Life was very luxurious. Thank you, Elder Titan. Everyone cupped their hands. After saying this, the gray-robed elder nodded and left. Everyone was very excited. They found their own rooms, then used their tokens to open the restrictive formation of the courtyard and moved in. They did not need to fight over it because every courtyard had already been divided. Xiaoping was the leader of this group, so he naturally had the best courtyard. It was like a villa. He entered the courtyard and took over the restrictive formation of the entire courtyard. Tonight, I have to find a chance to test the situation in the inner hall. After settling down, Xiaoping touched his chin and thought about his next plan. Chapter 2178. Late at night, everyone went to sleep. In the dead of night, Xiaoping used the formless mask to hide his aura. He blended into the void and quietly left his courtyard, heading for the inner palace of the treasury. Along the way, no one knew that Xiaoping had passed by or left. Not even Elder Titan and the other experts had noticed. This was the magic of the formless mask. It was almost as powerful as the laws. After a day of understanding, Xiaoping finally understood the difference between the inner palace and the outer palace. Although they were said to be the inner palace and the outer palace, they weren't actually in the same place. The two palaces were separated by layers of constantly twisting space. They were surrounded by restrictive matrices. If an ordinary person approached, they would be discovered immediately. Moreover, if one wasn't proficient in restrictive matrices, they would be forever lost in this spatial maze, never to come out. Even Elder Titan, who had lived for tens of thousands of years, didn't know much about the mysteries of the inner palace. It was a forbidden place that only sages could set foot in. It was one of the most important places of the illusion race. If an ordinary person faced such a situation, they would have given up long ago. It was a forbidden place that was impossible to enter. But Xiaoping was different. He used the golden crow's eye of hell to see through the restrictive matrices. He could see the flaws of the countless restrictive matrices, allowing him to easily avoid them. The so-called spatial maze couldn't stop his pace at all. Whoosh. An hour later, Xia Ping's figure flickered into the void. He easily jumped through the layers of space, passed through countless traps and finally arrived at the inner palace. Is this the inner palace of the treasury? With a whoosh, Xia Ping jumped out of the spatial mezzanine and came to the square of a luxurious palace. He carefully hid in the depths of the void, secretly observing the place. The inner palace of the treasury seemed to be in an independent space. It was a small plain world and the entire palace occupied a small plain world. The walls of the golden palace were practically impenetrable. They seemed to be made of rare materials in the universe. They were as hard as sage artifacts and ordinary power couldn't break them at all. Even a low-grade sage artifact's full power attack could only leave some marks on the walls. Most importantly, there were many restrictive matrices engraved around the walls, communicating with the power of countless dimensions. If one wanted to break a wall, they would need to deal with the restrictive power of the entire palace. This also increased the defense of the entire palace to an outrageous level, as if it was a turtle shell without any gaps. At this moment, the door of the inner palace was tightly shut. There was not a single guard around and no one else came in or out of this place. The entrance was strictly guarded, and the courtyard was deserted as if it would never receive any guests. Generally speaking, only saints or people who had made great contributions were qualified to enter the inner hall. There might not even be one such person in a long time, so it was not as lively as the outer hall. It doesn't seem that difficult to get in. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Although the inner hall was filled with layers of restrictive arrays and was like an impenetrable fortress, an ordinary person would be helpless against it. However, he was different. With the existence of the golden slime, it had the characteristic of devouring everything. As long as it was willing, it could devour any material. Even the walls of this palace were no exception. The problem was that those who wanted to enter the inner hall of the treasury were not only restricted by the existence of these formations, but also some old monsters. There's a saint suppressing this place. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. His golden crow's hell eyes saw through the void, and his deep gaze penetrated the countless restrictive matrices within the palace. No wall could obstruct his gaze. He immediately sensed that there were more than 10 powerful auras in the depths of the treasury. They were at least near ancient saint level, and there were even middle ancient saints and immemorial saints. This was a dragon's lair and tiger's den. It could be said that the strongest defense of the treasury wasn't the restrictive matrices, but the terrifying old monsters that guarded the treasury. If he tried to barge in, these old monsters would instantly discover his tracks and launch a thunderous attack, beating him to a fate worse than death. He clearly remembered that when he fought against a near-ancient saint, even the aftermath of the attack had severely injured him. This was an unstoppable power. If it was a middle ancient saint or even an immemorial saint, then he would be dead for sure. No matter how many lives he had, it wouldn't be enough. There really are many treasures in this place. Xia Ping was drooling as he looked at the situation in the inner palace. He realized that the inner palace was divided into 99 areas, and each area seemed to have some universal-level treasures. There was no lack of low-grade, middle-grade, and even high-grade sacred weapons. Other than that, there seemed to be universal-level rare materials placed in some areas. For example, the sound rune stones that he yearned for were placed in one area. They were piled up like a mountain and emitted waves of magical sound waves from time to time. If he could get these sound rune stones, he could immediately forge the Bell of Chaos into a sacred weapon. No, I can't be impulsive. I have to think of a way to lure these old monsters away. Otherwise, I won't stand a chance at all. I'll probably be torn apart by these old monsters as soon as I go in. Xia Ping touched his chin and suppressed his restless heart. He was thinking about the feasibility of this matter. If he wanted these old monsters guarding the treasures to leave, he would need something big enough to alarm the entire illusion race, forcing them to leave the inner palace and participate in the battle. This way, he would have the opportunity to enter the inner palace and plunder without restraint, obtaining endless benefits. He couldn't imagine to what extent his wealth would skyrocket if he plunder all these treasures. Alright. If I tell them about the illusion race and the abyss demons colluding with each other, or even the location of the illusion race's nest, then the illusion race will be doomed. They will definitely be attacked by the human clan, or even all the other races in the universe. Xia Ping knew that colluding with the abyss demons was an unforgivable crime in the universe. No matter which race it was, they hated traitors and traitors the most. Everyone wanted to get rid of them as soon as possible. He remembered that in the immemorial era, the Abyss demons had brought a great catastrophe to the entire universe. Although ordinary people had already forgotten such a painful lesson, the sages who had lived for countless years would never forget it. They constantly remembered how terrifying the Abyss demons were, and they had to prevent the Abyss demons from making a comeback. Now that there was a race colluding with the Abyss demons, they would probably immediately be enraged. It would be fine if they didn't know about this, but once they did, the illusion race wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Even if they didn't die, they would suffer great losses. Thinking of this, Xia Ping immediately left the inner palace silently. He had already obtained enough information. All that was left was to start the next step of his plan. Chapter 2179. Ha! Just as Xia Ping was about to leave, a voice rang out from the depths of the treasury, emitting a bewildered voice. "What's the matter, old ancestor?" many sages asked. The illusion race old ancestor had been cultivating in seclusion and rarely woke up. There was a strange feeling just now as if someone was spying on our place, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. However, in the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. This old man couldn't find any trace of it, so I don't know where it came from. The voice said. There's actually such a thing? Let me check it out. Several illusion race sages looked solemn. This actually made an Archean sage have such doubts. They immediately took action, and their terrifying divine senses permeated every corner within a radius of tens of thousands of light years. It could be said that within such a search range, no matter what dimensional space one was in, one would not be able to escape from their search. This was simply all-seeing, and there was nowhere to hide. The entire illusory realm had been scanned by them. However, after a while they found nothing. The surrounding void was still silent, and there was nothing. This situation also alarmed the other sages in the illusion, and they all asked what happened. Old ancestor, we didn't find anything strange, and there are no enemies hiding. Several illusion race sages reported. Maybe it's just my imagination. Sometimes when people get old, they tend to have a lot of illusions like a whim. The voice sighed. Even an Archean sage like him couldn't detect a gaze. There were probably not many people in the entire universe. Since he couldn't find anything, it must be his illusion. He didn't believe that there was anyone in this world who could avoid his search, not even a sage. The other sages also nodded. In fact, they also didn't believe that there was anyone in this world who could approach the place where they were without a sound. The reason why they searched was just to relax. Now that they couldn't find anything, they naturally wouldn't continue to pursue it. Then they warned the other alarmed sages, saying that it was just a whim of the old ancestor, and it was not a big deal. For a time, the entire treasury returned to its previous calm, leaving only a few sages cultivating in peace. From time to time, there were unfathomable cosmic vortexes coming from the depths of the void. At this time, Xia Ping had quietly returned to his residence in the outer hall of the treasury. No one around him noticed that he had left his residence. Let's go back to Yanhuang Star first. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. His figure flashed and returned to the space of the mountain River Pearl. Then, through the space channel of the mountain River Pearl, he directly returned to Yanhuang Star. The reason why he needed to return to Yanhuang Planet was that he couldn't use any universe virtual network in the fantasy world. It was probably because the illusion race were afraid that their nest would be exposed, so they refused to use the universe virtual network. They could only use it when they left the illusion world. After all, the universe virtual network was the crystallization of humanity's intelligence. Any race that used it would leave a mark on it. Even though the human race said that they were fair and wouldn't use the universe virtual network to do anything and protect everyone's privacy, the illusion sage didn't dare believe such a promise. In reality, some of the saints of the top races wouldn't use the universe virtual network if they didn't need to, afraid that they would leave any traces or blackmail on the human race. Hence, the fantasy world was a place where the internet was banned. No one was allowed to use the universe virtual network. However, they had their own internal network, similar to a local area network, allowing them to communicate with each other. Of course, it wasn't as magical as the universe virtual network. Therefore, to facilitate contact with the outside world, Xia Ping returned to Yanhuang Planet. Corinne, how do you think I should pass on this news to the human race? Xia Ping originally planned to use his identity to pass on the news to the human race's holy land of Taichu, which was the most convenient and fastest way. However, he needed to plunder the illusion race's treasure house. If his identity as Xia Ping was leaked, then it would not be very convenient to act and he might be targeted. Therefore he was caught in a dilemma. Don't worry, the human race has an intelligence network throughout the universe, people call it the Dark Net. Corinne smiled slightly. This is an extremely huge intelligence network organization, responsible for providing intelligence to countless people. As long as you have money, you can buy all kinds of intelligence. Even if you have any special intelligence, the Dark Net will give you generous rewards according to the rarity of the intelligence. This is an intelligence trading organization. If you want to leak the news of the fantasy world, you can use the Dark Net intelligence system, and you may even make a lot of money because of this. After all, the specific location of the fantasy world is a mystery for thousands of years. Countless people can't find its whereabouts, but countless people desperately want to seek revenge on the illusion race, so the bounty is extremely high. I see, then how can I contact the Dark Net? Xiaoping asked. When Old Master was still alive, he had a Dark Net account. You should be able to log in so that people from the Dark Net can trade. This account is anonymous and will not expose your identity. Corinne said in a deep voice. After saying that, he handed over the Dark Net account to Xiaoping. Xiaoping operated it a little and immediately understood. With a whoosh, his consciousness immediately appeared in the universe virtual network. However, at this moment, his whole body was surrounded by a mass of black fog, as if it was a mess, and no one could detect his real body. In the next second, he appeared in a unique virtual world. This was not a low-level city, a middle-level city, or a high-level city, but a dark world from the virtual network, called the Dark Net. Xiaoping appeared in a strange castle, and the pedestrians passing by were basically like him, their whole body wrapped in a mass of black fog, and their true faces could not be seen clearly. The surrounding people came and went very mysteriously, trading with the people in this place. Sir, what can I help you with? At this time, a waitress with an appearance similar to an elf came over. She was the receptionist of this place. I want to sell information, Xiaoping said. However, his voice was very hoarse, as if it had been distorted by the Dark Net, making people unable to distinguish what his original voice was like. Selling information? The waitress's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. I wonder what level of information it is? The Dark Net was very eager for all kinds of information in the universe. After all, this was the largest intelligence organization of the human race, and every piece of information had a great use. If they knew it before others, they would definitely obtain great benefits. Chapter 2180. It should be the highest level of information about the location of the illusion world. Xiaoping said lightly. What? The location of the illusion world? Hearing this, the waitress was shocked. She had worked in this place for a long time, so she naturally knew how important this information was. Countless organizations and forces in the universe wanted to know where the illusion world was, but after countless years, even the sages couldn't find it. Now, someone actually knew where the illusion world was. Once this news got out, it would be earth-shattering. Please wait a moment, I'll ask the supervisor to come and receive you. The waitress didn't hesitate. She immediately informed her most senior supervisor because, according to her identity, she couldn't receive such an important guest. At the same time, she couldn't know such top-secret information. This was professional ethics. Not long after, an old man in a black robe walked over. His small eyes emitted bursts of light, and his aura was very powerful. He was a sage. Friend, please come with me to the VIP room. This place isn't suitable for talking. The black-robed old man waved his hand, and with a whoosh, the virtual space suddenly changed. Xiaoping was suddenly teleported to a VIP room, leaving only him and the black-robed old man. Friend, I have to warn you in advance. The black-robed old man stared at Xiaoping. This place is called the Honest Space. It contains a powerful power of law. If anyone dares to lie here, they will immediately be attacked by the power of law. Even a sage will die. So if you plan to lie, then you'd better leave now. I won't care about your reckless behavior. Do you understand now? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He sensed that he seemed to be in a strange space between the virtual and the real. It contained the unfathomable power of the law of the universe. Obviously, this was a unique space in the universe's virtual network. It contained the crystallization of the supreme wisdom of the human race and had a terrifying power that could threaten sages. This was probably one of the ways the Dark Net confirmed whether the information was true or not. Don't worry. Everything I said is true. There's absolutely no falsehood. Xiaoping was calm and composed. Very good. Since you're confident, I won't stop you. The value of this information is extraordinary. If it's true, you can obtain a medium-quality saint artifact, or a reward equivalent to a medium-quality saint artifact, Jianchen said with a smile. The black-robed old man stated the price of this information. Xia Ping nodded, expressing that he was satisfied with the reward, so he told them what he knew. At the same time, he also told them about the collusion between the illusion race and the abyssal demons, indicating that many of their sages had already turned into the abyss. Hearing this, the black-robed elder remained expressionless, but his heart was greatly shaken. It was as if he had experienced a violent storm, and he was unable to calm down for a long time. Because regardless of whether it was the specific location of the illusion realm or the collusion between the illusion race and the abyss demons, there was no doubt that this was news that could shake the entire universe. Is what he said true? The black-robed old man secretly transmitted his voice to an unknown existence in another space. There's no reaction from the honest space, which proves that what he said is true, but whether it's the truth or not still needs to be verified. After all, he might have been tricked. A voice came down. Very good, I already know about this news. However, we still need to investigate whether it is true or not. If it is confirmed to be true, then the reward will be sent to you immediately. The black-robed elder said in a deep voice. No problem. Xia Ping nodded. He believed in the credibility of the human race's dark net. For countless years he had never heard of the dark net cheating others of their rewards. Of course, his main purpose was to spread this news and let the illusion race suffer. As for whether there would be a reward or not, it was not a big problem. Where did you get this information from? You should know that the location of the illusion realm has always been erratic, and even sages can't find it. The black-robed elder asked curiously. This is my secret. Alright, the deal is done. I will leave now. Xia Ping smiled slightly. Of course, he could not answer this kind of thing. After saying that, he directly left the dark net and returned to Yanhuang planet. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. When Xia Ping left, more than a dozen figures immediately appeared in this space. They were all the higher-ups of the human race's dark net, and all of them were terrifying existences of the sage level. What do you think about this matter? If it is true, it must be a major event that will shock the universe. That's right. Previously, we only suspected that the illusion race colluded with the demons of the abyss, but that was only a suspicion. There was no evidence. If the illusion race really defected to the abyss and became traitors, with the power of the illusion race, they will definitely be able to cause irreparable damage to all the races in the universe. The illusion race's transformation ability is too terrifying. Ordinary people can't even see through their true form. Once a war breaks out, the illusion race's ability will definitely cause us great trouble. The war with the abyss is imminent. We must not let the illusion race destroy our plan. Immediately inform the old ancestor. This matter is no longer something we can solve. Yes, let the old ancestor take action personally. With the strength of the old ancestor, he should be able to investigate this matter clearly. Please be careful. The illusion race has terrifying existences of the immemorial sage level, and there may even be immemorial demons hiding. If the illusion race counterattacks before they die, it will be troublesome. More than a dozen figures were discussing, their faces very solemn. They knew how terrifying the illusion race's ability was. If they reached the sage level, their transformation ability would be even more terrifying, and they could almost understand the mysteries of the human body. Even they might not be able to find the true body of the illusion race's sage. If during a war the illusion race's sage transformed into one of the upper echelons of the human race, but they did not know about it, then the losses would be unimaginable. Because of this, all the races in the universe were extremely afraid of the illusion race. This was a strange and terrifying race that could affect the safety of countless races. It was said that the illusion race was one of the powerful races that walked out of the strange regions of the central universe. But who is the person who sent this information? How can he have such important information? Even we have searched so hard, but we still couldn't find the location of the illusion world. Someone was curious about Xia Ping's identity. The person logged in with a dark net account, so there's no way to find his true body. Perhaps the old ancestor who has the ultimate authority of the universe virtual network would know, but we don't have enough authority. Forget it. Although I'm curious about this person's identity, that's not the most important thing. Indeed. No matter what, if this information is true, then it will be a great help to us. This person is a friend, not an enemy. Everyone nodded. They immediately took action and sent this information back to the upper echelons of the human race. Chapter 2181. In a mysterious place in the upper echelons of the human clan, this was the highest hall of the human clan. At this moment, dozens of shadows appeared in the hall. They had all received the news and had projected themselves here from all over the universe. I heard that the exact location of the illusion plane has been found. Is this true? Intelligence analysis. After the darknet's analysis, this news has a 70% chance of being true. If it's true, this information must not be leaked. The reason why the phantom world is so hard to find is that it can move at any time. Once the phantom race discovers any movement, it will immediately escape and hide for tens of millions of years before coming out again. Indeed, the illusion race's intelligence is too terrifying. I'm afraid all the major races have their spies. Last time we were lucky enough to get news of the illusion plane. But before the operation began, the illusion race found out and all our efforts were in vain. The human saints discussed this with serious expressions. After so many years, it wasn't that they hadn't found the illusion plane's location. In fact, there had been people who had found it by chance. But they hadn't expected that there would be spies from the illusion race among the various races and even the upper echelons of the human clan. The news had been leaked and the illusion race had escaped, only reappearing after billions of years. It could be said that the illusory race was an extremely cunning race. If they sensed that something was wrong, they would flee far away. They would not appear in front of people for a long time until people forgot about their threat. This was the illusion race's way of survival. Because they were afraid that this news would be leaked, they strictly controlled it. The saints who attended the meeting had all been tested. They couldn't be spies from the illusion race. According to this information, the illusion race seems to be colluding with the demons from the abyss. They might even be corrupted by the abyss. An ancient saint said, "What? Something like this has happened? It seems that the illusion race has really become traitors. They must be eliminated immediately. Damn it. This is the way to die. The illusion race dares to do such a disgraceful thing. Stupid illusion race. Don't they know that they can't cooperate with the abyss? They're the enemies of all races? And they've been corrupted by the abyss. How stupid. We can't let the illusion race go. Once they've been corrupted by the abyss, they'll be like a plague that can spread quickly." Many of the saints were enraged. This matter was more than 100 times more serious than discovering the location of the illusory race. There was actually a race that was colluding with the abyss. This was a betrayal of all the races in the world and made them the public enemy of all races. This was unforgivable. Fortunately, they discovered it in time. Otherwise, if they discovered it later and the abyss started a war, they would probably suffer severe losses. However, this information only has a 70% chance of being true. We still need to be cautious. We need someone to go there and investigate. However, we can't let the illusion race discover us and alert them. A sage said in a deep voice, "I'll go." Just at this moment, a voice rang out from the depths of the void. Following that, an elderly man in white robes walked out. Even though he was clearly standing in this space, it was as though he had transcended it. He himself seemed to represent a world. His body emitted a terrifying power of laws, constantly contending against the laws of the universe. It was strange, yet harmonious and unfathomable. Xiaoyao Ancestral Master. Seeing the white-robed old man, the saints were all in awe because this white-robed old man was one of the supreme experts of the human clan. He had reached the invincible saint realm. If Ancestral Master personally investigates, the illusion race won't be able to find us even if they have great abilities. The saints were full of confidence. Obviously, they admired the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master's strength. This was almost the peak combat force of the universe and a horrifying existence on the level of a true overlord. "Then I'll go and have a look." The white-robed old man chuckled and stroked his white beard. Then, he waved his hand lightly and seemed to draw a mysterious talisman that contained endless power of laws. Instantly, the mysterious talisman turned into a black and white air current that absorbed the power of yin and yang. Finally, it condensed into a black and white fish that was about the size of a palm and looked extremely mysterious. "Go." The white-robed old man, the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master, patted it lightly. The small fish waved its tail lightly and easily merged into the void, easily crossing countless layers of the dimension space. To this small fish, these layers of the dimension space were nothing. Swoosh. Soon the small black and white fish arrived at the illusion realm. Looking down from above, waves of invisible waves spread out and enveloped the entire illusion realm. However, no one could detect such a wave. Not even the sages could sense it. This was a mysterious power that surpassed everything else. Swoosh. After getting this information, the small black and white fish swayed again and quickly returned to the Xiaoyao ancestral master's hand, merging into the depths of his body. Right. This information is indeed true. The illusion realm is indeed in that place. It seems that it hasn't moved for a long time. The Xiaoyao ancestral master stroked his white beard, and a glint of light appeared in his eyes. Ancestral master, did the people of the illusion race really join the abyss? An ancient saint asked. Indeed. More than half of the illusion realm was corroded by the power of the abyss. Almost all the saints of the illusion race became members of the abyss, the Xiaoyao ancestral master said in a deep voice. Damn the illusion race. They really became traitors. Ancestral master, we should immediately send out troops to wipe out those traitors. Whoever dares to become a vassal of the abyss will be the public enemy of all races and will have their entire family killed. The group of saints scolded angrily. Don't be in a hurry. I can sense the unfathomable power in the illusion realm. If we go there rashly, I'm afraid that many of them will slip through the net. We must send troops and kill all the traitors. The Xiaoyao ancestral master's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. There are many saints of the illusion race, and there might even be demons from the abyss lurking among them. This force is not to be underestimated. If we want to wipe out all the traitors, we must send all the saints from all races in the world. But if we send troops like this, we'll make too much noise and might be noticed by the illusion race. The saints looked grim. It doesn't matter. In my name we'll hold a meeting of saints and preach. I'm sure we can invite many saints. The Xiaoyao ancestral master smiled faintly. When the meeting begins, I'll pretend to preach and secretly ask the old undying Empyrean ancestral master to use his power and teleport to the place of the illusion realm. By then, those traitors will have a hard time escaping. As expected of the Xiaoyao ancestral master. He's indeed a sly old fox. The saints were impressed. What did you say? The Xiaoyao ancestral master glared at the saints. No. We said that ancestral master is extremely smart and unrivaled. Right? He can predict the enemy from 1,000 kilometers away and win the battle from 1,000 kilometers away. Right. Those brats of the illusion race are like babies in front of ancestral master. They're not worth mentioning at all. The saints sweated profusely and hurried to flatter him. You flatter me. I'm not as smart as you say. It's just a small trick, and it's not even 1/10,000th of my wisdom. The Xiaoyao ancestral master stroked his white beard smugly. The saints remained silent and criticized silently. Ancestral master was so powerful that they couldn't afford to offend him. Please remember the domain name of this book. Third Sect Leaders Mobile Version. Chapter 2182. A day later, Xiaoping received the news from the darknet. His information had been verified and confirmed to be 100% true. The darknet had already given him a reward. With a swoosh, his soul entered the darknet's virtual space once more. A bald old man appeared before him. He was one of the people in charge of the darknet. Friend, your information is indeed true. You will be able to obtain a mid-grade sage artifact. This is a list of many mid-grade sage artifacts. You can choose any one of them. The bald old man nodded lightly, and a holographic projection appeared before Xiaoping. There were many mid-grade sage artifacts listed on it, as well as a large amount of information about them. Xiaoping took a quick look. There were at least tens of thousands of them. One could imagine how rich the darknet was. Even sage artifacts seemed to be worthless. Of course, if you don't want a sage artifact and need other treasures, you can tell us. We will do our best to satisfy you, but the price must be equivalent to a mid-grade sage artifact. We won't give you anything beyond that. The bald old man looked at Xiaoping. In that case, I will need a large number of sound grain stones. I wonder if you have any here? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at the bald old man. Originally, he had wanted to obtain a large number of sound grain stones from the illusion race's treasury. However, he was a little impatient now. If he could obtain enough sound grain stones from the darknet, he would be able to increase the power of his natal artifact right now. He was getting closer and closer to breaking through to the sempiternal realm. The lightning tribulation could descend at any time. This was a great tribulation. He had to be careful and use all the means at his disposal to increase his strength. Sound grain stone is a special or produced in the central universe's fortuitous encounter zone. It contains the mysterious power of sound waves. It's an excellent material for forging sage artifacts. The bald old man thought for a moment and said, It's not impossible if you want to exchange for sound grain stones. A mid-grade sage artifact is roughly equivalent to 100 kilograms of sound grain stones. Are you willing to accept it? He gave a price. Although the sound pattern stone was indeed a rare it was nothing to the rich and overbearing human race. Sure. Xiaoping was overwhelmed with emotions when he heard that. 100 kilograms of sound pattern stones were more than enough for him to upgrade the Bell of Chaos to a low-grade sage artifact. It would naturally be better for the Chaos Bell if he could have more sound pattern stones. However, 100 kilograms of sound pattern stones were more than enough for him to forge magic treasures at the moment. Alright, since that's the case, let's seal the deal. These sound pattern stones belong to you. If you have any more information in the future, feel free to contact us on the dark net. We guarantee that we will give you the best price. The bald old man wanted to rope in this mysterious person. Regardless of how this mysterious person obtained the information about the illusion realm, he definitely had a mysterious channel that no one knew about. He was someone worth roping in. Of course. Xiaoping nodded. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a boom and a black hole appeared beside Xiaoping. It turned from illusory to corporeal, and a spatial ring appeared. There were exactly 100 kilograms of sound pattern stones inside. He immediately caught the space ring and left the universe virtual network. I finally obtained the sound pattern stone. Xiaoping was very excited. He didn't care how the humans would deal with the illusion race. Even if they wanted to deal with the illusion race, it wouldn't be something that could happen in a short period of time. They would definitely need to deploy troops. This would give him some time to buffer. At the same time, he gave the formless mask to Corinne and let Corinne transform into Barty and replace him as the treasury guard. This would prevent him from being discovered when he was not in this place. If anything happened, Corinne could also remind him at any time. Taking advantage of this time, he began to forge his life treasure, the Chaos Bell. A few days later, on an uninhabited planet near planet Yanhuang. At this moment, the entire planet had become Xiaoping's forging site. On a vast plain, a huge and majestic bell stood there. There were countless mysterious patterns carved on it, as if countless birds and beasts had appeared. Rumble at this time, Xiaoping used the infernal golden crow flames. His whole body was emitting a dark golden deviant flame. The flames burned for billions of kilometers as if the planet had become the sun. Anyone who approached this place would be burned to ashes. Hundreds of kilograms of sound stone, under the burning of the infernal golden crow flames, turned into a bronze-colored metal liquid. Each drop of liquid contained wonderful power. Splash, the bronze-colored liquid under Xiaoping's control, quickly merged into the depths of the Chaos Bell. The Chaos Bell was like a greedy beast, absorbing the power of the sound stone. Dong dong dong. Xiaoping used the distant fire forging technique to constantly temper the Chaos Bell. He rearranged all its materials and all the restrictive arrays inside, quenched the impurities and stimulated all of its power. One after another, restrictive arrays were engraved inside. As he continued to strike, the Chaos Bell became more and more magical. Vaguely, a transcendent aura emanated from the inside of the Chaos Bell, as if it was about to transcend. Wisps of chaos airflow spread out from its body. Each wisp of chaos aura was as heavy as Mount Tai, enough to crush a mountain. It contained a terrifying gravity. Clang clang clang. Suddenly, the Chaos Bell began to shake without any wind. With its body as the center, rings of sound waves were produced in a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. They condensed and formed countless ripples like ocean waves. Such sound waves were boundless. Terrifying cracks appeared on the planets within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers, and countless terrifying ravines appeared on the ground. Such sound waves even contained the power to destroy souls. They affected the matter in the void, and even the surrounding space seemed to be shattered. Terrifying spatial cracks appeared. After fusing with the power of the sound stone, the Chaos Bell's attack power increased by at least 10 times. Its materials contained the various characteristics of the sound stone. Many ripples vaguely appeared on the surface of the Chaos Bell. One after another, each pattern seemed to contain the nomological power of the sound Tao. This was the mysterious power in the depths of the sound stone. The reason why the sound stone had the power to destroy souls was that it contained the nomological power of sound path. Now all of it was absorbed by the Chaos Bell and fused into one. Ordinary magic treasures could not fuse with the sound stone, nor could they devour all the power of the sound stone. However, the Chaos Bell was different. It was a powerful magic treasure with the chaotic pure gold as its foundation. It had the characteristics of containing all metal substances. No matter how strange the sound stone was, it could not compare to the chaotic pure gold, a treasure that came from the depths of chaos. Please remember this book's domain name. Third Sect Leaders. Chapter 2183. It has leveled up. It has leveled up to an inferior grade sage artifact. Suddenly Xiaoping was enlightened. He integrated all the sound rune stones into the Bell of Chaos, increasing the power of this Dharma treasure to an unprecedented level. The entire Bell of Chaos underwent a huge transformation. It kept shaking and emitting a vibrating sound. Such sound waves seemed to resonate with his body, his dermic powers and his soul. It was like the tiger-leopard thunder of a warrior, cleansing him from the inside out. Dong dong dong. As the sound waves continued to vibrate, Xiaoping sensed that his essence, spirit and body had completely integrated into one. Every wisp of soul power and every cell seemed to be in perfect harmony. He had reached the realm of spirit and body as one. The various barriers between the spirit and the body had all disappeared. It was perfect and had fused as one. In an instant, he felt that his essence spirit seemed to have undergone a rebirth. He sensed that he was close to the other side of the sea of bitterness and was about to condense his true spirit. I see. I'm going to level up too. At this moment, Xiaoping felt like he had achieved the Tao and was about to ascend. When he forged his natal Dharma treasure, the Bell of Chaos, into a sage artifact, he also used the magical power of the Bell of Chaos to completely eradicate the barriers between his soul and body. They were integrated into one in spirit and body as one. He felt that his essence spirit was at the edge of the sea of bitterness. The originally indestructible barrier was suddenly shattered like glass by a gentle punch from him. Then Xiaoping crossed the sea of bitterness. His huge body jumped out of the depths of the sea of bitterness and reached the shore. This is transcendence. This is reaching the other side. Xiaoping felt that his soul seemed to have transcended at this moment. His soul was everywhere and could penetrate into every spacetime. It was integrated into the depths of the universe and went deep into the source. His soul was free from the limitations of lifespan, the restraints of the 5 elements, and the restrictions of space. He was everywhere and omnipotent. It was as if all restrictions had been removed. His thoughts were unprecedentedly active. Even the computing speed of an AI might not be as fast as he was now. The sparks of his thoughts were too fast. He kept calculating and he even felt that he could see a little of the future. Xiaoping's primordial spirit stood on the other side of the river. Beneath its feet was a vast river that surged and flowed. It had no beginning and no end, it was boundless. There were countless fishes living in the river. They kept struggling but they couldn't jump out. Once their lifespans were up, these fish would sink into the depths of the river. It seemed to be the fate of all living beings. Only by transcending this river could one completely control one's destiny. Without a doubt, this was the river of destiny. The Dharma treasure tribulation is here, and the thunder tribulation is also. At this time, Xiaoping raised his head. In the depths of the void, a terrifying black vortex with a diameter of 10 light years had appeared. It was humming, brewing a terrifying calamity. It seemed to have already communicated with the origin of the universe. This tribulation wasn't just about ascending to the immortal realm. It was also about the Chaos Bell's magic treasure tribulation. Since the Bell of Chaos was his intrinsic Dharma treasure, this Dharma treasure tribulation was also counted on him. When the two terrifying tribulations overlapped, the power unleashed was simply unimaginable. What kind of disaster is this? Xiaoping sensed that the depths of the void seemed to have gathered the terrifying powers of earth, wind, water, fire, and many others. This was a great calamity that he had never seen before. If he could not withstand it, he would die. This was the malice of the universe's origin. Master, be careful. This is the tribulation of the 4 symbols. It was at this moment that the Azure Ox exclaimed in horror, "Unbelievable! The tribulation of the 4 phenomenons is practically a legendary tribulation for one to reach the sempiternal realm. How did our master encounter it? This is simply unheard of." It simply couldn't believe its own eyes, because the tribulation of the 4 symbols had only appeared in legends. It was definitely the birth of a monster, an ominous existence that was hated by the heavens and earth. Once the tribulation of the 4 symbols appeared, it meant that the person facing the tribulation was doomed. It could be said that no one had ever survived the tribulation of the 4 symbols since ancient times. What is the 4 symbols tribulation? Xiaoping asked. The so-called tribulation of the four symbols represents four terrifying tribulations. The first is the Yellow Springs tribulation water, the second is the Vermilion Bird tribulation fire, the third is the Sky Demon tribulation earth, and the fourth is the Nine Underworlds tribulation wind. The Azure Ox said solemnly, these four tribulations are each more terrifying than the last. Ordinary lightning tribulation realm cultivators would die if they couldn't even withstand the first tribulation. Even immortal sages wouldn't be able to withstand the fourth tribulation. Even immortal sages wouldn't be able to withstand the Nine Underworlds tribulation wind. Once it appears, even immortal sages would be reduced to ashes. The Azure Ox was incomparably shocked, because even immortal sages would die if such a tribulation descended. Yet, it had actually appeared on a peak lightning tribulation realm cultivator. This was simply impossible. Although it also knew that its master was extremely monstrous and rarely seen in the world, it couldn't possibly encounter such a terrifying tribulation that was practically impossible to resolve. I see. In that case, as long as I can withstand the tribulation of the four symbols, I'll be able to reach the immortal realm, right? Xiaoping clenched his fist. This? The Azure Ox didn't know what to say. If he could withstand it, he would indeed be able to ascend to the immortal sage. The problem was that with such a terrifying tribulation descending, could he still withstand it? Moreover, he could only rely on himself to withstand such a tribulation. Others couldn't help him at all. The Azure Ox could only pray in its heart. This terrifying tribulation power immediately permeated into the Mountain River Pearl space, allowing all living beings in the space to sense the tribulation of the four symbols descending from the outside world. Fae, Crow Demon Bird, Nine-Headed Lion, Amethyst Tiger, and other primordial species also sensed this tribulation. My God, how can this human's cultivation speed be so fast? In the blink of an eye, he's actually about to undergo the final lightning tribulation and ascend to the immortal realm. This is too ridiculous. Many primordial species were dumbfounded. They had cultivated for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, but they were only struggling at the lightning tribulation realm. Some of them were even at the avatar realm. Although the human's cultivation speed was indeed faster than the primordial species, it couldn't be this fast, right? Haha, look, that's the tribulation of the four symbols, the legendary supreme tribulation. A lightning tribulation that will definitely kill you, but that Wu Wuti actually encountered it. The heavens really have eyes, knowing that this bastard is a bandit. Even the heavens have to strike him to death. Faye immediately burst into laughter. It was in a good mood as it recognized the origin of this tribulation. My God, it really is the tribulation of the four symbols? Unimaginable. This human is indeed a monster of the world. Even the heavens want to destroy him. One should know that even the immortal sages will die if they encounter this tribulation of the four symbols. Since ancient times, no one has been able to survive it. This kid is done for. Haha, finally, this evil human is done for. When he's dead, I'll divide the treasures of this world and inherit this human's wealth. Many primordial species were wild with joy, especially Fae and Crow Demon Bird. Their eyes lit up as they felt that they had finally made it out of this predicament. Please remember this book's domain name. Third Sect Leaders Mobile Version. You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.